My future wife believes her highest calling in life is to be a wife and mother, but her other interests and ambitions are welcome. I'm one of 5 in family to play college football. Fair warning in case being a mother to athletes doesn't sound appealing. I don't care about lots of matches or dates. I care about shared values and vision. And here are the answers to the prompts. I'm weirdly attracted to women who are even more conservative, traditional, or old-fashioned than me. It takes an incredibly strong woman to be traditional and feminine in today's culture.
Go check out her long TikTok playlist on this. And yeah, as you can see probably there, a lot of conservative men, the reason you have trouble dating is pretty much described in that profile you see. All that stuff you're talking about, how self-obsessed you are, talking about your achievements. And I've actually noticed this in other videos I've made about conservatives dating. Do you remember that man who was saying oh, I'm 50 something, in good shape, I own my own property, blah, 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 I still can't get a date? Because they literally think, and I feel sad for some of them, they get told you get all these achievements and a woman will just fall into your lap based on the achievements that you played college football, you know, you got a good education and stuff. Yeah, a lot of women don't give a shit about that if you're actually a terrible person. And talking about the athletic stuff as well, red flag in my opinion, because it again shows that you still haven't stopped this vanity. But of course, the worst element to that is I expect you to be a mother to my children and just serve as my wife in a traditional role. And I guess in the right stuff is the place where they can just really say that, because they expect all the women in this app to be people who would be up for that. But I would even say the 10 women who sincerely signed up to the right stuff for dating, I would even say most of them wouldn't want to do this either. Because most women in Western countries, although they might maybe fall into this role eventually, like my own mum was a stay-at-home mum, pretty traditional role she served. We're not really religious, it just kind of worked out that way. But if you tell women on the first date, this is what I want from you, I'm pretty sure most British and American women aren't going to be okay with that. And you wonder why this app wasn't doing amazing. And I think this is proved by, the Twitter page for The Right Stuff has been completely wiped because the head of it, John McEntee, joined the Heritage Foundation, like I said, to do the Project 2025 stuff. Now, before we talk about him and Project 2025, basically this guy used to be some sort of actual assistant to Donald Trump in terms of carrying his stuff. And then he was forced to resign or he was fired because the FBI found out he had loads of gambling debt, which means he could probably be easily compromised by a foreign government and stuff. But then because he was a high school athlete, I think Donald Trump liked him and then rehired him at the end of his presidency, and he became really high up in the Trump administration, mainly dealing with the hiring of personnel. There's a technical term for it, it's in one of the articles, I forgot specifically. And there was another story I read where he would basically use his position to hire conservative female influencers that he could try and hook up with. I'm not joking. And then also other people who worked with him just said he was a complete idiot, basically. But because of those connections, that's why he was able to start a dating app. And it's probably why he's in the Heritage Foundation now, and it's probably why he'll be in the next Trump administration. But you guys would have probably seen him, probably most famously, is because he uses the Right Stuff's TikTok page and Instagram page as his personal social media, and it actually gets quite a lot of engagement. It seems like this guy must have designed a dating app just to become some sort of conservative social media influencer. And also, I want to talk about this, and it's something I've been thinking about recently. Conservatives basically nearly coming around to the anti-capitalist viewpoint, right? Because the stuff they're complaining about, but they only use as critiques when their party isn't in power. Because when Donald Trump was president, which this guy served under, he would do the exact same stuff, you'd have the exact same problems, so you're just basically being a hypocrite. But I want you to look at some of these TikToks. Obviously there's loads of racist, transphobic, anti-vax stuff on there, pretty par for the course of American conservatives these days. But I want to focus on these ones I just talked about.
Can you guys fix the roads we pay taxes for? Best we can do is paint rainbows on them. You need to buy medical insurance.
Secure the capture zones and neutralize the opposing force.
Because if something happens to you, you'll have to spend thousands of dollars. But the insurance is thousands of dollars.
Capture zone contested.
Trust us. It's worth it if something happens.
Allied forces on zone B.
Okay, something happened. Can you pay? No. You need to spend $20,000 first. So banks can go crazy if you owe them $1. But when they crash the entire financial market and request $100 billion, that's totally chill. I can't afford a home. I don't feel safe. Groceries are way too expensive. My entire neighborhood is filled with homeless people. Best I can do is ban TikTok. Always get the extra side of orange chicken, just in case. Imagine being one of our politicians. You steal everyone's money and still end up $35 trillion in debt. If we need illegal aliens to do the jobs Americans won't do, who did all these jobs before we had illegal aliens?
So in my opinion, this guy might feel this way about some of these things, but it's clear he's trying to appeal to like Gen Z people on TikTok who might feel this way about their government because, yeah, you're talking about medical insurance. You worked for Donald Trump, who tried to even destroy Obamacare, which already was a very corporatized form of healthcare. So what's your solution to medical insurance, right? So in this guy's case, he's saying it's a scam, and I would agree. But is Donald Trump going to pass universal health care when he's the president? The president that you formerly worked under and you'll probably work for again? No? So what is the actual solution? I bet people like this just say, yeah, don't use medical insurance and maybe some BS pseudoscience will see you through most of your life healthy. But for most people, when you get older, you're going to need help from the government's like medical programs, and what's going to happen then? And even he was talking about like, you know, all these problems under Biden, but they just banned TikTok. Again, all those problems exist under Donald Trump as well. What's the actual solution? Yeah, the US government is terrible for not doing that, but that's because the system is terrible, right? Because your president did that as well. And even the thing about he calls them illegal aliens, talking about illegal immigrants to the US doing jobs no one wants to do, is just so funny to me, because obviously he's coming at it from a xenophobic talking point. But if you want to talk about it economically, why do rich people love illegal immigrants working at their businesses, including Donald Trump? Because you can pay them less. It's pretty simple, isn't it? Because they come from poorer countries and the wages are still better from the stuff they earn back home, so they're willing to do harder jobs with terrible working conditions, and loads of the US economy is actually propped up by this labor. So the answer of why so many undocumented immigrants do jobs that Americans used to do is because the capitalist class want to save even more money and exploit cheaper labor, the same way they moved so many domestic jobs abroad just to save themselves more money. And even talking about bank bailouts, like Donald Trump gave the biggest tax break to the rich ever, and you're talking about bank bailouts like you disagree with them? Like, come on. It's just like, obviously, we know of Donald Trump, faux populism, but even now, he's not even doing that shit anymore. That's like in 2016 Donald Trump who might say shit like that to try and get into the White House. Now they just say absolutely unhinged shit all the time. Both candidates, to be fair, but Donald Trump more. But this guy is going to be in the Trump White House again, likely, if they keep running with Joe Biden. Now, he is still posting a lot on his social media accounts because he wants to make these stupid sketches where he eats food all the time. Of course, yeah, like I said, he has loads of like really racist, xenophobic, anti-vax, all that shit on there as well. But I've covered that more in the last video. But the Heritage Foundation posted this last year. So former PPO director John McEntee joins Project 2025. So they say the former director of the White House Presidential Personal Office in the Trump administration is joining the 2025 Presidential Transition Project as a senior advisor. He will play a vital role supporting the personnel pillar of Project 2025, embracing the motto that personnel is policy. Project 2025 is launching the database to collect resumes and vet thousands of potential applicants in advance of January 20th, 2025, when the next president takes office. Organised by Heritage, Project 2025 is more than 50 of the nation's leading conservative groups joining forces to make sure the next conservative president is ready on day one. Paul Dans, director of Project 2025 and former chief of staff at the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, said, "The 47th president must and will confront the deep state and return to John McEntee to do so. We're thrilled he joined the project. to ensure the next president is ready. So if you guys haven't heard of what Project 2025 is, let me outline it for you from a Guardian report. So Project 2025 details across more than 900 pages how Trump and his allies could dismantle and disrupt the US government. It suggests ridding the federal ranks of many appointed roles and stacking agencies instead with more political appointees aligned with and more beholden to Trump's policy prescriptions. Led by the Heritage Foundation, the project showcases a federal government that cracks down intensely on immigration, LGBT, diminishes environmental protections, overhauls financial policy, and takes aggressive action against China. So there's loads of like different things you can see online, just like graphics of what they want to do. And Joe Biden said today, Google Project 2025. If you look into it, it's basically what groups like the Koch brothers have always wanted, just a massive deregulation of the US government, but also combined with more conservative values influenced by religion, so cracking down on LGBT rights. And obviously it's like bizarre that the guy I've showed you who ran this terrible dating app is going to be like so involved with this. Basic move to fascism by the US government. But one thing I want to say about this is, of course, like, you know, Donald Trump's presidency, next presidency, is obviously terrible for the world. I'll say that. Like, I don't want it to happen personally. I'm most worried for me about potential conflicts around the world and, of course, the environmental destruction caused by the US and the further deregulation of the environmental agencies like the EPA, which Trump did before. I think it was Scott Pruitt, who used to be like a fossil fuel lobbyist, was the head of the EPA, basically deregulated and destroyed loads of rules to protect the US environment, right? So I'm worried about that. But if I'm going to be critical, Project 2025 is just the newest fear-mongering by Democrats to make you vote for them without them doing anything, which they don't want to do anything because they're in bed with the exact same lobbying groups, mostly, as the Republicans. So it's such a convenient scapegoat, and I've seen it come up a lot recently because people, blue MAGA, blue Anon, they're all arguing you can't tell Biden to drop out because he has the best chance of beating Donald Trump, which is just strictly not true based on polling data. Joe Biden is not only going to lose the White House, he's probably going to make Democrats lose the Congress and the Senate because of all these states based on his performance as president and his performance in the debate going to Republicans because he just seems like such an old, frail president. And I've said before, as someone who's had people with Parkinson's in my family, he looks like he has some sort of illness that might be similar to that, to be honest. And if you're suffering from that, you are not capable of being president. That's not to say Donald Trump should be president. I don't want that at all, of course. But Project 2025, to me, is just like, you know, I don't need a label on it. That's just going to happen anyway. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, a Donald Trump presidency is going to be terrible, but the hysteria the Dems whip up around like certain issues to make sure they never have to promise you anything. Like, what is Joe Biden campaigning on? Can someone in the comments please outline 5 policies he is campaigning on? And even if it's in his manifesto or whatever, what has he actually promoted, right? Universal healthcare? Any of that stuff? Actually writing off people's student loans fully? Is he promising that? I remember that was a popular policy he promised last time. He's not doing anything because, if you haven't realized it by now, Democrats, Republicans, most of them don't give a shit who wins. And for a lot of Democratic politicians, they don't care either because being in opposition, they get to make all these great speeches, continue to get the donor money, or they can just leave and get a consulting job, right? They serve the same masters. They serve capital and capitalism. Of course, it's scary Donald Trump will get in again if Joe Biden stays as president. But every bad thing Donald Trump's going to do, he was doing in his last presidency, right? So this incoming presidency isn't somehow like Trump's last administration on steroids. It's literally just going to be him completing what he did last time, right? And yeah, that's a bad thing. That's something you should obviously not support. And I don't know any leftists who would support Trump getting in. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you should support someone who's clearly suffering from some sort of disease that will likely end his life in his next term if he gets elected again, when you could have another option. And also, just because the other guys are so bad doesn't mean you can't offer anything to the voters, right? I know that might work once or twice, seemed to work for Keir Starmer in the UK recently, but that's because he was opposing 14 years of Tory rule, which made this country so terrible. Joe Biden isn't doing that. He's the president. He won last time doing that, But now he's the president. He's done nothing. He's going to lose because of it. And fear-mongering about Project 2025 and all that shit, yeah, it might play well with some older people, but young people are sick of this. Young people are sick of this game. And of course, because Joe Biden has literally been such a terrible president in mostly his support for Israel, that young people just don't want to be complicit in this anymore, right? So if you're offering them nothing apart from fear-mongering, oh my God, the other guy is so bad, which is literally Dems' only strategy since, like, what, 2008 or something, then people are just not going to vote for you, right? So yeah, I sympathize with my American followers. I obviously understand Project 2025 as like this manifesto is a terrible thing, but you always knew Donald Trump was going to be terrible, right? Why has the standard for Democratic candidates become so low? You're literally going to vote a guy in who not not only supported everything Israel's doing right now, he's clearly sick, a sick old man who apparently can't actually do a full workday anymore. You want him to be the leader of the most powerful country in the world, right? No one does. So have your standards higher. He should be replaced. He should drop out, and hopefully he does. But going to people, oh my God, you have to support Biden because of Project 2025, it's not going to work. Everyone knows Trump's going to be bad. Just slapping a name on it and him tweeting about it isn't going to make people suddenly think, oh my God, I cannot have standards anymore, because Dems always do this. But yeah, conservative dating app creator to a leader in a fascist government seems like the American dream right there. Anyway, that is it for the video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.
Over and over and over and over.
He wanted you to change your name because he was embarrassed.
Over and over.
He was embarrassed to be associated with you.
Over and over.
He didn't want you to be called Wilkins. He wanted you to be.
Over. That's all you do.
And over and over and over. That's the thought process that's going through my head at all times whenever chance just enters into my mind. I'm sitting there trying to go to sleep. Oh, I just had a nice 4th of July. Oh, what's this? What's this? And Marty has been pulling Chance onto his panel to basically just harass and berate each other for, I don't know, an hour or two at a time. How cute. And that means that your boy has to return and he has to talk about it. He has to discuss, what is Chancey Poo up to? What's he doing? He's getting upset. Why would Chancey Poo be getting upset? He's on YouTube's side. YouTube and him are collaborating to eviscerate me. I've been gang stalked outside my apartment for the past couple months. And I know that's because of Chance. I know it's because he's intimidated that I want the metal album. I get it. I understand. This is all just like big business moves, right? No big deal. But we got some streams. We got some freakouts. Let's see what Chancey Poo is really up to.
I don't think you understood.
No, shut the fuck up, man. You were specifically told by me, Shannon, and CIA to leave me the fuck alone. So why ain't you doing it?
Well, I'll tell you this.
Nothing. Well, what's your excuse, fat ass?
So here's how everything goes. But there is, you're asking an explanation.
No, you want to know why I never let you?
You came across like a little shithead.
Your mouth is a bald-faced fucking lie.
You came across like a little shit.
Dude, you're a fucking lying sack of shit.
You blew it.
No, I didn't. You said, no, I did not, motherfucker.
Here I am. I'm still standing, boy.
No, I did not, motherfucker. You're
Here
the one who blew, man.
I'm still standing, boy.
You blew your shot to stay on this platform.
There's just a lot to try and examine between these two. Now, I've seen the comments. I've seen the complaints. Yes, terminally online incel saturated content over here going to berate two people who are getting into arguments online leading up to the 4th of July. I understand. It's the pot calling the kettle black. It's no big deal. But I sat through these streams with Chance, and the amount of times that he just fucking leaves. Sally calls him, you know, Sally needs him to come down and fuck Ed real quick and come back. And when he comes back, he just brings up the same shit over and over and over. See, I can play the same game too, Chance, over and over. And it is like mind-numbing. Like, this is why I kind of think that people stuck inside of like psychiatric hospitals go through. It's like, I actually am starting to see why your brains might be malfunctioning, because if you're just constantly getting barraged with the same thoughts over and over and over again, how could you not go insane?
You're a piece of fucking shit. You've done nothing but bully me for the last 7 goddamn years, and it's about goddamn time.
That's not how Miss Kelly sees it.
Shut your little fucking punk ass up, stupid bitch.
That's not how she sees it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really, motherfucker?
Really?
You know what's funny about you, Nick?
Yeah.
You think that you're better. You think that you're better than YouTube. You think that you run YouTube. You think that you make all the rules. Well, sorry to tell you, bitch boy. That ain't how reality fucking works, you
make the rules.
Honestly, you're a piece of fucking shit.
This is
a piece of fucking shit, dude.
This is why you can't have a
No,
merch.
shut the fuck up, dude. The reason why I can't do shit is because you want to try to run shit like a wannabe badass, but really, you're selfish. Because you know in real life. No, you know in real life that if anybody stood up to you, you would get your fucking ass beat, motherfucker, and you know it, dude.
Really?
Oh no, the only one not obeying the rules here is you. We all told you to back off, which means no making videos of me, motherfucker. So fuck you, fuck off, and delete your goddamn channel.
Chancey Poo's a bit upset. Miss Kelly, you know, obviously, if you missed the last video, basically Marty has this random other person coming on pretending to be some employee that works with content moderation at YouTube or something, and obviously Chance bought that hook, line, and sinker. He has no capability of leveraging two things in his mind and thinking, actually, I might be being deceived right now. This might not be true. He can't really identify that, and so shocker, you know, there was a whole peace treaty being organized, and now Marty's saying he broke it, Chance is saying he broke it, and all I can really focus on is how fucked up Chance's teeth are nowadays. I don't know why. In this stream in particular, maybe it's just like he gets too close to the fucking camera, but his teeth are like two triangles combining at a point in the middle. It's really weird. They're all like jagged and pointed and crooked. It's like he's goblin maxing right now. He's really just goblin maxing, and it's taken the message away, Chance. You know, why don't you just pull a boogie, get some fake teeth, all right, look like a fucking jester clown, and maybe I can focus a little bit. Right now, it's a bit hard.
I made you, and I can destroy you. I'm your daddy. I'm your boss. I'm the one that made you, bitch. Without me, you wouldn't be jack fucking shit. Without me, no one would know who you are, motherfucker. I made your career, and guess what? I'm about to shatter it into fucking pieces.
So you're gonna sue YouTube?
Yeah, because they're not doing their fucking job by kicking you off the internet, by getting the police involved.
Miss Kelly,
You don't deserve to be on the internet. You are an internet bully. So fuck you, Nick. Go the fuck to hell and get off the internet before I get you in it and I make you get the fuck off, bitch boy.
Well, I'm sorry, it's coming in pretty hot.
He's just gonna shatter all of our careers. It's fucking over for me, guys. If I never make a video again, just know it's because Chancey Poo came out and he said, I made your career, I can break your career, I can go fillet Ed right in front of you, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna fucking like it. You're gonna sit there and fucking like it. And you know what, Chancey Poo? I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. You and Marty's beef, it's getting old. It's getting old. You should get back in the studio and make a metal album. You know, if you really want to stick it to the haters, why don't you make a metal album? Why don't you let Saturated Content do a midnight stream of your new album? I give it a not good. A fire explosion. Yeah, you know, I'm hip with the kids. I know what all the kids are talking about. It's no big deal. Me and Chance have that in common, except one's for a more nefarious reason than the other.
I should have expected this of you. Because every time you get caught, you start to lie. You get nervous. And let me tell you right now, Nick, that whole pedo shit can easily be boiled down and shown that you did all that shit to isolate me. No fucking problem at all whatsoever. And the reason why you wanted to isolate me is so you could bully me for the last 7 fucking goddamn years. Oh, by the way, Nick, your friends are bitches, and your family are a bunch of punk-ass cowards just like you. Your family raised a bitch. Your family raised a fucking coward. You attacked me, you attacked my friends, you attacked my family, you turned my own dad against me, you caused me to drop family members, you turned friends against me, all for your fucking selfish greed of power and money and wanting to make money off my back because you feel like you don't need to work for shit. All because mommy and dad.
Chance, you don't make any money yourself.
All because
how can I make money off of you? If you don't make money. How can you not make money off of you? How can you not make money off of you?
Because of you, you stupid fuck.
Oh, how did I know that was?
No, shut the fuck up, dude. Every time I try to do something to make money for myself, you fuck me over.
How?
You and Wayman Edward boy flat out said you don't want me making money.
At this point, you know, we're reaching terminal levels of just retardation. It's really hard to put up with. if I'm keeping it a $1.50, you know, I wish that everybody that I would talk about, mostly at this point, it's just Chance and Boogie. Boogie at least does shit in every fucking video that he does. A lot of this stuff with Chance is starting to run its course, I feel like. I'm not saying that Chance has been milked dry. I just think that we're kind of stuck in this, you know, toilet bowl spinning down the drain where it's like, it's all right, Chance is gonna say that my family doesn't love me and they don't know how to fucking spank me or whatever, and he's the big bad wolf and he deserves to make as much money as he wants. It's the same fucking story over and over and over again. And that's sort of what happens when he just doesn't leave his house. You know, there was some when Afraid of Myself or whatever the fuck his name was came over, and you know, we got that whole saga of him getting arrested and shit. That's the stuff that I'm into. Not, it doesn't have to be that extreme every time, but you know, the best footage that we can get nowadays are house calls from the APD that show up. That's the best we can get. And you know, nowadays it's not even like trolls doing anything. It's just Sally set up a fucking Ring doorbell and doesn't know how it fucking works, so the alarm keeps going off and the police have to respond. They're just an absolute blight on society. It's so fucking annoying.
That's none of your goddamn fucking business now, is it, boy?
How does it feel knowing that you died being hated by your dad?
Me die? I ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
How does it feel knowing that your dad died?
What's the matter? What, hang on, back up. You said, how does it feel knowing that I died?
No, how does it feel knowing that your dad died hating you?
You don't know whether he's dead or not, motherfucker.
Really?
And besides, you're the one that turned him against me for your own selfish fucking greed. Because you don't want me to have anybody on my side. Because you're a psychopath that needs to be locked away in a fucking mental facility for the rest of your fucking life because you're a psychopath.
Who do you think that's more likely to happen to between me and you?
It's more likely to happen to you because I am.
Remember the time PBS came by, Chance?
Hey, Nick, remember that time?
Remember the time you thought that PBS was doing documentary but it was really just mental health trying to come by?
Hostile operators inbound.
I remember that.
Is green.
I remember that.
Remember that time that I beat your ass in a street fight? Your fault.
No, it's your fault.
No, it's your fault, motherfucker.
Neutralize the
It's your
enemy team.
fault.
No, it is not my fault. It is your fault. You're the one that fucking reached out to him, not me. You're the one that made him hate.
You're the reason he
I
left
didn't
you.
do that to myself, you fucking.
Did I make him leave you?
Yeah, you fucking did.
He left you long before I knew who you were.
No, that is bullshit, man.
Chance doesn't even know his own life history at this point. He thinks that Marty has been tormenting him ever since he was a fucking glimmer inside of his dad's eye. That's it's so stupid. So basically he's talking about, if you don't know who Gordon is, Gordon was the first stepdad of Chance when he moved in with Sally. So he raised him up until he was like in his young teens, maybe like 12, something like that. And then he ditched him because could you really stick around Chance and Sally? I mean, let's be honest here. And Marty brought him on stream a couple months ago. Allegedly dead. I don't know what to take of it. I don't know how you find out this information, but basically he made his own channel that was just roasting Chance, which is pretty funny. You know, how soul crushing must it be to have a father figure, air quote, to show up and just fucking ruthlessly destroy you with the trolls that you so desperately want to destroy. And finally, I just want to bring up that point that Chance still believes that he won the fist fight that they had in Akron a year ago. And his only rationale, and like in his head, I still think he kind of thinks that if it happened again, he would beat Marty's ass. It wouldn't happen, obviously, but in his mind, because he got up, that means that he's the champion. He's the world champion of the entire universe because he got back up. I'm still standing, bitch.
False.
I've had jobs. You
Like what?
haven't.
Like what?
You never have.
What jobs have you had outside YouTube?
More than you, motherfucker.
Name one. Name one.
Well, let's see. Twitch, scrapping, working.
Well, that's on. Well, so that's on.
Working on jobs for family, working on jobs for friends, mowing grass during the summer, mowing grass during the
So mowing your grandma's lawn for a $10 bill. Mowing your own lawn doesn't count as a
Nick,
job.
you've never even had a fucking job, boy.
Mowing the lawn
You
is not
lived
counted as a
off
job.
of mommy and daddy. They've
Mowing the
always
lawn-
fucking
mowing the lawn
defended
is
like
not counted as a
little
job.
bitch. That's
Mowing
why
the
you're
lawn-
such a bitch, bro. You're weak. You're weak. That's why you're so scared and weak, because you always had mommy and daddy to protect.
That's literally you, though. Like, people know that I've worked very
You had
hard.
mommy and daddy to protect you from all your little crimes.
You literally stood behind your grandma when I showed up to your house.
Actually, no, I did not. They
Yeah.
pushed me. No, I did not. They pushed me behind them.
Even if they did push him behind, that's still really pathetic. Your elderly parents are, Chance, get back! The big bad Marty show. It's like I feel like oh fuck. I feel like I'm like losing my mind a little bit. Just a teensy bit. You know, I don't know if it's normal to be sitting here and overanalyzing Chance and Marty fist fights and altercations in real life. I don't know if that's a good course of action. Maybe not good for my mental health, but it might be good for the YouTube channel and for everybody watching here who's like, Chancey Poo. You know, I feel like we should set up like a Florida backyard brawl, Kimbo Slice type of shit with Chance's backyard, you know? Charge $10 a head, and he's claiming he's doing all these fucking weird odd jobs and shit. You know, maybe he could be the referee, and it'd be like WWE where half the time you fucking suplex the referee anyway. So, I don't know, spitballing here.
The truth. I ain't never took no fucking job. So stay down, shut the fuck up, and for the final time, stop fucking with me, you stupid piece of shit, and stop making videos about me, you dumb fuck. If you can't stop, I will jerk off on your stream and get you shut down. Cause I'm tired of you fucking making videos about me. I'm tired of you constantly fucking going after me for no fucking reason.
Well, I'm not gonna stop.
Well then, guess what, bitch?
Too slow, Chance.
Shut the fuck up, Nick.
You just broke the deal.
Shut the fuck up.
Goodwill out the window.
Stop being a lazy bum, you
Goodwill
bitch.
out the window, Chance.
Hey, man whore. Shut
just
the fuck up. Get the fuck off YouTube and get a job, you lazy bum.
There's a lot to analyze in this short little clip. So basically, Chance disappears, Marty does a new stream, and Chance comes back. And I don't know how he organized or like directed the camera because it's a completely different angle. I don't even know what we're looking at anymore. We got a guitar in the background. I'm really confused as to what I'm looking at. And also, I don't know, am I like what's going on here, right? You know, we're taking our cocks out. Marty's complimenting him for his cock. I'm sitting here talking about some mentally deranged goblin man taking his cock out on camera and showing it to the audience, and I'm supposed to pretend like I'm a normal person. I'm supposed to go fucking cash a check and go to the grocery store like I belong in society. I mean, what the fuck is even going on in my life at this point? This is, and you're watching me talk about him taking his cock out on camera, man. What the fuck is going on in our lives, man?
Nick, if you'll excuse me, I have real shit to fucking
Like
do.
what? Like what?
And besides, Nick, didn't I already tell you to back the fuck off and leave me alone?
I don't care.
So you don't give a fuck that I'm under doctor's orders to not be with on stress free. You don't give a fuck about that.
You're an
You
idiot.
don't give a fuck about that, right? Is that what you're saying? Is that you don't care? Is that what you're saying? That you
No, I
don't
don't
give
care at
a fuck?
all. No, why would I?
Why do you got? Stop muting me, bitch.
Sorry about that.
No, you're not sorry.
No, you're right. I'm not. You're right. You're right. I'm not.
You think you're above the law, but really you're just a corny ass little bitch. You're a fucking fat ass with no talent. You're dumb as f.
Well, then why do you dodge my rap battles every time?
Fuck your rap battles. You ain't worth my fucking time.
Then rap. Let's rap. Like, let's settle it once and for all.
No, fuck your rap battle. I'm never battling you. I'm never doing what you want. I'm doing what I want. And I know why you don't want me doing my uploads, because you don't like the fact that people actually enjoy my shit.
There's no proof that anyone actually likes any of Chance's stuff. To find a single person, you're not going to find them. And I'm curious about this whole doctor meeting of, yeah, you know, tell Marty that he's not allowed to bully me anymore because doctor's orders of no more bullying. I didn't know that you could get prescribed that. I mean, nowadays, it doesn't surprise me too much. I feel like you can get prescribed or told whatever the fuck you want, and the doctor will just sign off on it. And I'm a bit confused because, Chance, aren't you the one engaging in this altercation? It's not like Marty's hacking into your computer and force turning on your webcam in order for you to be on stream. You're willingly waking up with your scab-infested body and saying, you know what? Today's the day, baby. I'm going to convince Marty that he's in the wrong. And then you got saturated content just losing his mind, listening to the same story over and over again.
Bitch, I've been doing this shit long before you. There's a lot of shit that you don't fucking know.
When did you ever weld?
Well, let's see. You ever start thinking that maybe I took auto body shop class when I was in fucking high school and I actually learned how to do real fucking shit that might actually help me out one day in the future if I need it? Did you ever start thinking about that? No.
Oh, but yeah, so, dude, you were 20-something in high school, dude.
No, you're not gonna mute me, little bitch-made motherfucker. I'm gonna tell you straight how it is. If you lose YouTube, you ain't got jack shit. If I lose YouTube, I can do whatever the fuck I want to do and still make a living. You can't do shit.
Correct, that's simply not true. I can always go back to e-racing.
The whole FL Studio setup costs more than your fucking house, bitch.
Well, first off, I rent, and I also find that hard to believe. Okay, so how much does your FL Studios cost? I'm curious.
Well, let's see. FL Studios is free, but all the shit that I have that I put into it, in total, we're talking over $100 grand in presets, sample packs, plugins, the whole works, man. I actually put effort into my shit.
So now I'm supposed to sit here and believe that Chance could be a welder in a next life when he loses one of his lives. And I'm also supposed to sit here and pretend like, yeah, Chance invested $100,000 into a free software to make music that he doesn't even post anymore. That's what I'm supposed to sit here and believe. If that's true, well, you know, obviously we all know it's not true, but let's suspend disbelief, blah, blah, blah. Well, let's just call the fucking welfare office in Akron and be like, yeah, hi, one of your recipients spent $100,000 over 20 years on buying a bunch of useless junk to play, rapper online. You know, he's the #1 rapist, and just send Chance to jail for fraud. That's what I'm saying. And I don't know why he's trying to flex this like this is some big thing, because Chance, you're in well, I guess we kind of moved a little bit past it, but there was an era in the early 2010s to 2020-ish where SoundCloud rap was super big, and that's how a lot of popular artists nowadays made their mark. And they were recording shit in their fucking bathroom, and they were using fucking Goblin mic. And that's another thing. I don't know what the fuck happened between the last clip and this clip's fucking audio quality. I don't know what Chance did, but obviously #1 audio engineer right there. Good investment, Chancey boy.
Okay. That's okay.
Oh, no, I think you need to hit that delete button and get a
I can go to your YouTube account and delete it if I wanted to, but I'm not
going no. That's not how this works. See, I can do whatever the fuck I want to do and get away with it because I'm not breaking any rules. But you, however, are.
You just whipped your penis out, Chance.
It don't matter. It's on your stream. Therefore, you are responsible, not me.
Oh.
So it's your channel, Nick. You should be more responsible. You dumbass.
Okay.
That's what's wrong with you. You don't think that you should be held accountable for the shit that you've done. But really, you are going to be and forced to be held accountable for all the shit that you've done. You think you're invincible? No, motherfucker. You're looking at the invincible one, which is me.
So this is all obviously confusing because you don't get away with something if you're not doing anything wrong, right? and Chance, in a sense, is telling you that he's doing something wrong. That's why he's getting away from it, right? Whatever. And he's the golden child, I guess. He's invincible. Nobody's gonna strike him down. You know, I will say, even though we're kind of stuck in this repetitive period where it's the same shit, new day, I will miss Chance if and when YouTube or whatever decides to strike him down. You know, whatever internet provider he has up there, Comcast or whatever, just says, it's not worth our time to keep internet going to this house, and we'll just eliminate it, and then there's no more Chancey Poo. And you know, I'd be a bit sad, unless I got the metal album, then I'd be good. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time, talk to you guys later. Peace.
That is the biggest line. That's what I wanted to stress the importance of. Not one, but two Georges who have been around Biden recently have said that he is not fit to serve. He is not fit to be in office. He is not fit to run for re-election. That is unimaginably devastating. That's terrifying. That's crazy. Brandon spoke to NATO leaders as Democrats are holding closed-door meetings over his candidacy. It's a big deal for Brandon. He's going full-blown. He's going full tilt. I'm the NATO guy. I don't think that is a solid way to win an election, okay? I don't think you can run around and be like, I'm the NATO guy, Jack. Michigan, I'm the NATO guy. Wisconsin, I'm the NATO guy. I made NATO. Vote for me. Literally, perhaps one of the worst possible ways to run for president. Like, nobody gives a shit. Americans, historically, as we have talked about, don't give about foreign policy, which has been a very beneficial position for our robust defense contracts, our robust defense industry. It's great. It's great for them. Nobody gives a we get to do whatever we want. People don't even comprehend that, like, all the money that's going to those initiatives is actually money that could be going to, I don't know, fixing our roads, beefing up our infrastructure for climate change, you know, paying for health care, all these different things. Of course, we're not going to do that. The average American doesn't think about that. But because the average American also doesn't think about that, you can't run on that. That's not a thing that you can run on. You can't be like, I'm the foreign policy president.
Biden spent the day at the NATO summit in Washington as many Democrats on Capitol Hill were struggling with his decision to stay in the presidential race. Nancy Cortez is at the White House. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning, Nate. President Biden is set to meet with union leaders this morning. He spoke to Democratic mayors last night as he works to reassure worried Democrats. But every time the White House thinks things are calming down, a new challenge pops up.
Today, NATO is more powerful than ever.
Just as President Biden was looking to project strength with a speech to NATO leaders yesterday, House and Senate Democrats were holding tense, closed-door meetings.
We're riding with Biden. We're riding with Biden.
Are you all on the same page?
I love how old everyone is. Like, on both sides of this conversation, even people who are like, yeah, Biden is too old to run, they're old as dirt. People who are like, nah, Biden is great, actually. His age is perfectly fine. Old as dirt. It is just like, God, this is such a gerontocracy. Oh, my God. We are getting to a point where it's just like, we are getting to a point where it's just 75-plus-year-olds voting, and they're voting for 75-plus-year-olds, okay? That's it. If you're over the age of 75, you run for office or you vote for someone who's running for office, and that's it. We're no one else. It's not important for you. It doesn't matter. We don't give about what you have to say if you're under the age of 75. Okay? If you're 74, suck my young buck. You ain't got a say in this conversation. You better see yourself out, okay? You better see yourself out of this equation. The out of here. They have basically become fossils.
What do you mean you're not on the same page?
They're not even in the same book.
They were discussing Biden's candidacy and polling that shows him slipping in battleground states. They're worried that a poor turnout for him could hurt them too. Last night, Colorado's Michael Bennet became the first Democratic senator to publicly say Biden can't beat Trump.
Donald Trump is on track, I think, to win this election and maybe win it by a landslide and take with him the Senate and the House.
New Jersey Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill urged Biden to help lead the process toward a new nominee.
Did you give them a heads up? They did. Did they try and stop you? They did.
But New York's Jerry Nadler, who told colleagues privately on Sunday that Biden should leave the race, now says he backs Biden.
The president made very clear.
That's the funniest part, that they just keep also swapping positions. Cause like Nadler was like, I don't know, maybe the president's fine. I don't know. It's like he was one of the first elder statesmen who is also elderly to come out and be like, yeah, this can't happen. Okay, and then now he's turning around and he's like, I don't know. I forgot what I was saying. It's so stupid. It's just, what are we doing? What are we doing? Yes, Tim Kaine in the membrane, Tim Kaine in the brain, baby. Senator Tim Kaine, to Joe Khalil TV, I have complete confidence that Joe Biden will do the patriotic thing for the country, and he's going to make that decision. He's never disappointed me. Tim Kaine, dude.
It's almost like you've done this before.
Tim Kaine. Bro, Democrats are talking. Okay, let me tell you something, okay? Democrats are talking about New York being a battleground state. I have never seen such panic in the Democratic Party. Like, Bernie Sanders potentially becoming the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party is literally not as scary for these motherfuckers. And that's the scariest thing for these motherfuckers, okay? Like, they're saying New York is a battleground state. That is not even correct, okay? That's like, even I would look at that and go, okay, you're being a little ridiculous right now. Unless you are seeing something that I am not seeing, okay? That is insane. That is just like an absolutely insane take. Yeah, they're like, Massachusetts is gone. They're making a second Republican Party out there, okay? Like, Massachusetts has fallen. Vermont. All this stuff. Ben Shapiro also testified in Congress, which was pretty funny. We'll do that as well. Their internal polling must be dire. Yeah, it's just, it is. I think they're a little bit hysterical, I'll be honest, but like, this is them trying to, increase the heat a little bit, slowly but surely turning the dial, okay? Doing their very best to be like, Brandon, get out, without actually saying, Brandon, get out. What are you doing? You're old as dirt. Some of them have now started saying, Brandon, get out. You're old as dirt. Okay? But you have to understand a fundamental truth here that I have brought forward multiple times. If you're like, why aren't the Democrats saying this loudly and proudly? Why aren't the Democrats actually coming out of the gates swinging at Brandon? Because the one legitimate advantage that the Democratic Party has over the Republican Party, for all of the moderate votes that they want to get, for all the independents that they want to get, okay, is that they are a competent party. They are not a chaotic party, as opposed to the Republican Party that is both chaotic and incompetent and crazy and also very far right. Democrats are supposed to show stability, so they can't come out and be like, we are in a state of massive panic here. They're trying to do this as politely as possible. They just keep going, come on, do the right thing. We love you. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. We love you. You're great. Do the right thing. Okay? Because if Brandon keeps this shit up and he's just like, nah, I'm not getting out. I'm not getting out. You shut your mouth. I'm doing the best. I'm God King. Lord Almighty can't get me to take myself out of this race. The more Brandon refuses to hear what the Democrats are saying in the most polite terms as possible, the more the Democrats have to increase the pressure, turn up the heat a little bit, and the more they turn up the heat, the more this looks chaotic, okay? And the more the Democrats look chaotic, the more the Democrats look chaotic, the more they look like Republicans, okay? They are losing they're losing all of their advantage, which is crazy. They're losing the what remains of the advantages. It's like basically throwing abortion in the trash or something. Like, that's the one final thing they have. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to do a January 6th on top of that too? You're just going to be perfectly Republican at this point? Brandon, in the last quarter, has decided to throw so goddamn hard and just turn into this like even older Donald Trump figure, incredibly narcissistic, incredibly cynical, incredibly right-wing on a lot of issues. Like, Brandon is going to throw so hard by just coming out and being like, honestly, guys, abortion is murder. Listen, Jack, abortion is murder. And I don't think we should have it. I'm proposing to throw women in jail if they try to get an abortion. I'll tell you what, it's just crazy. They're killing babies, Jack. Immigrants are doing it, and then they're killing babies. Watch me. Not under my watch. I'll put an end to that.
Yesterday that he's running.
Domination.
And for me, that's dispositive. We have to support him.
He's not the only lawmaker who sounds more resigned.
I mean, wasn't that his position 10 years ago? Listen, a lot can change over 10 years. Like at the top of the hour, there used to be a 1-minute ad break. Now there's a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. But the reality is, the unchanging reality is that America is a shining beacon of democracy. A $5 a month subscription will allow you to no longer see those ads at the top of the hour. If you are lucky enough to get gifted a sub, you will also no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. But if you're not lucky and you make your own luck, you can do that by subscribing for free with a Twitch Prime. Trump wants to deport all immigrants. I'll go further and deport American citizens. Joe Biden before the election, probably, yeah. I'm instituting a new test. If you even remotely look Latino, I will deport you. Even if you got Spanish background, I'm deporting all the Puerto Ricans back to their island. Richie Torres had this to say: in determining how to proceed as a party, there must be a serious reckoning with how down ballot effective whoever we nominate. What matters is not how we feel, but what the numbers tell us. An unsentimental analysis of cold hard numbers, which there's no personal feelings or political loyalty. You should inform what we decide and whom we nominate. If we're going to choose a particular path, we should be clear-eyed about the consequences. Blindness is not bliss. Amid the terrifying threat of a Trump presidency. That's crazy. He's losing Israel's strongest. He's losing Israel's strongest representative. Okay. This is funny. Everyone under 50. Joe has dementia. It's obvious. Everyone closer to Joe's age. I don't know. Maybe the sun was just in his eyes. I will never die. Exactly. New Hakeem Jeffries told House Dems in meetings this week, including today, that he's going to relay the concerns he's hearing to Biden. Two sources tell Manu Raju. And Jeffries backs Biden and has been in listening mode, but this is the latest sign that Dem panic isn't going away. My favorite part about this past week has been, and I'm going to get to it in a second when we talk about Nancy Pelosi. Okay? My favorite part about this past week has been the new method that Democrats have decided to apply to the chaos, which is, Joe will make a decision soon. What do you mean he'll make a decision soon? He has said he's running like 18 times, bro. I mean, let's talk about Nancy Pelosi. I'm gonna skip it. I'm gonna get to this. Because Nancy Pelosi was on Morning Joe, which has an audience of 1, okay? This is specifically for one guy, okay? It is identical to Donald Trump in that regard. Obviously, the Fox and Friends, or was it Fox Friday? No, it's Fox and Friends in the Morning was for Donald Trump. He loved that show. He watched it all day, every day. He called into it. Morning Joe is Joe Biden's Fox and Friends, okay? And so Nancy Pelosi's like, hey, let me publicly go on here and just, reiterate some concern, okay? And she did. She sure did. Let's take a look.
Speaker Emerita, Democratic Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi of California, and the leader of the Democratic opposition of Belarus, Svetlana Tikhanovskaya. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us. Of course, Svetlana fled Belarus in 2020 after running against authoritarian leader Alexander
I'm not sure what Project 2025's position on Social Security is.
Yes, dude. Yes, he is. Everything he's saying here, that he's trying to dance around. He's trying to tap dance around this. But of course he's on board. He is a Heritage Foundation talking point machine.
Swallow. Thank you. Mr. Shapiro, thank you for joining us today. I think it is important that you're here as one of the leading conservative voices in the country. And the country has, in the last couple of weeks, talked a lot about and Googled Project 2025. It's one of the most Googled search terms right now. And you're not going to get any censorship from me. So I just wanted to know, from your perspective, I think it would help us understand, on just like a scale of 0 to 100%, how much do you support Project 2025?
I think, like President Trump, I haven't looked all that deeply at Project 2025, but it seems that Democrats on this committee, sort of like Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, if they say Project 2025 enough, their presidential candidate becomes alive again.
And so, well, let's just talk about pieces of it, and I guess you can tell me if you support it. You probably want less bureaucracy, right?
I do.
I want less bureaucracy. You want more efficiency.
I do.
I want more efficiency. You want taxpayer money spent wisely.
I do. Congrats on becoming a Republican.
My parents would be proud. Mass deportations, it calls for that. Do you support that part?
I support the deportation of any legal immigrant who's in the United States who is not of benefit to the generalized American public.
So if they're picking agriculture that puts food on the tables of everyday Americans, they've never committed a crime inside the United States, they didn't come across with documents, should they be deported?
If they have not paid taxes and if their draw on the taxpayer benefits are larger than the contribution they're making to the economy, or if they're involved in criminal activity, they should be deported.
How do we measure that?
The same way that the IRS measures my income every year. It seems like if the IRS can track down every aspect of every receipt that I've ever submitted, and they can do that for hundreds of millions of other Americans, they can do that for illegal immigrants as well, except for the fact that no one knows how many are in the country thanks to this administration.
So you would be cool with creating a system where they could pay those taxes if they wanted to, and then stay and work and put food on our table?
It depends on how long it would take for them to pay the taxes, and they would also have to go presumably to the back of the line, although I'm not sure why I'm testifying about immigration policy at this point.
How about banning the abortion pill? That's part of Project 2025. Do you support that part?
I think that that's a state-by-state issue on a personal level. I'm just asking you. Sure. I'm.
There's nothing funnier than Ben Shapiro being like, Heritage Foundation, I don't know what that is. It's like, bro, come on. Literally every talking point that you've ever delivered on your broadcast has been a verbatim Heritage Foundation talking point. Why is the House Judiciary Committee holding a hearing? Collusion of the Global Alliance for Responsible Media? I don't understand this. It is pretty funny. It is pretty funny when he's like, I don't understand Project 2025. I don't know what it is. It's like, no, you love... You're lying. And he's not even doing a very good job lying. He's just like basically trying to massage his way out of it. And the only reason why he's saying that is because he has to repeat whatever Trump says. And Trump recently said, Project 2025... I don't know anything about that. Now, why did he say that? For two reasons. One, because it's nerd, okay? And two, he knows how to read the room. Project 2025, which is very real, and it's not necessarily 2025. It's more so Project 2024, Project 2023, Project 2022, Project 2020, Project 2016. It has not, like this, what they are...
An after-death show, it's not a method that seems to guarantee box office receipt. Yet, it's still one that does provide some profit. And like with Sound of Freedom, Sound of Hope pushes the pay-it-forward model as a way to support the message of a film in a way that feels incredibly sinister and actually undid a lot of the goodwill I had towards the movie. I can't necessarily say how Sound of Hope will do. After its first weekend at the box office, it has only grossed a little over $6 million and sits in number 7. And I don't think it's getting nearly the amount of press or interest as Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom had legitimate controversies surrounding it, from Tim Ballard and Operation Underground Railroad's terrible history of practices that endanger victims, to Jim Caviezel seemingly endorsing QAnon and adrenochrome conspiracies. Possum Trot has none of them. But how is the actual movie itself?
Defeated.
Going into it, I figured Possum Trot would be fine. Obviously not my cup of tea, not because of the faith themes, but because it looks like an overly schmaltzy Hallmark Channel runoff with moments that basically beg you to get emotional like a pile of puppies begging for the last bit of ham at a Christmas dinner. And it kind of is that. Like, judged against every other Christian movie out there, it is definitely grading on a curve. But this is no Sound of Freedom. This is not even on the level of something like God's Not Dead. And for that, it's actually okay. Telling the true story of a small, predominantly black rural community of Possum Trot that took in a ton of foster kids nobody wanted is legitimately inspiring. In 1997, Bishop W.C. Martin and his wife Donna, along with the small town of Possum Trot's congregation, took in dozens of at-risk and adopted children to give them the love and support nobody else would. The Reverend would write a book about this called Small Town Big Miracle that would later be featured on Oprah and the 700 Club. I wanted to read it, but there's no ebook version of it, and I didn't want to read it that bad. Already, conceptually, this is the kind of story of Christian giving and selflessness I think of whenever I say there are good religious people. These stories seem few and far between compared to the stories of abuse and hate that we've covered, but they're still important to remember, if only because stories like this don't get as much attention. Possum Trot was a small southern community that decided to take in kids who had been badly abused, tortured, and things I don't even really want to talk about because I find them so distasteful. Regardless of faith, it makes for a compelling dramatic setup, which is why I think the film has mostly received positive reception from critics. Angel Studios might be pushing this as a faith film, but it is far from the trite garbage of War Room or Fireproof or any of the Kevin Sorbo, Kirk Cameron joints of the last 2 decades. Because it's not a movie so much about how to convert the viewer to Christianity, but showing how faith, not divine intervention or God himself, but simple faith in other people, in a community, in friends and family, can help people through hard times. So far, so good, right? And if it sounds like I'm pretty positive, I am about this aspect of the film. I am not so positive about other aspects. I mentioned it earlier, but this movie isn't anywhere near as reprehensible and irresponsible as something like Sound of Freedom, which genuinely puts people in danger with its messages. I really think this movie was made from a place of wanting to do the right thing, at least doing right by this story. The writing is kind of all over the place, but the main performances here, especially Demetrius Gross as W.C. Martin, managed to elevate otherwise pretty standard fare. But the story of Possum Trot, of 72 children who were adopted, and the families those adoptions impacted, is simply too big at an emotional level, and the film buckles under that weight. The film opens with Donna's mother passing away, describing her as loved by her community and adopting tons of kids. In her grief, this would go on to inspire Donna to find hope by being struck with the inspiration to also adopt children. There's literally a moment that echoes the Sound of Freedom line in that film where Donna is weeping and depressed and overwhelmed with loss, and the sound of nearby children laughing and playing draws her out of a stupor. Like, I half expected her to literally say that was the sound of hope. Then she just decides to adopt some kids because she says the Lord spoke to her. It seems like she's literally saying adopting more kids, like her mom did, will cure her depression. At 2 hours, the movie does run a bit long. But when I talk about how the story is just too big, concessions like this is how you can tell. In a blog post from several years ago, the real Donna Martin recalled these events differently. Quote, "That morning 16 years ago, Pastor left for work and our 2 children, LaDonna, age 9, and Princeton, 15, went off to school. I was washing the dishes when I just broke down and started sobbing something awful right there at the kitchen sink. Lord, I cried out, I can't take it anymore. I threw down my dish towel and stepped out the back door, went out to the old wooden rocker under the oak tree and sank down. Rocking made me feel better. In the cool breeze, I seemed to hear God say, think of all those children who don't have what you had in a mother. I want you to give them that. Really? I wondered how. All the kids we had in Possum Trot were doing okay, far as I could see. The message came back at me, adopt kids from foster care. I knew next to nothing about adoption or foster care, but I hurried into the house, opened the phone book, punched in an 800 number, and just like that, I was signed up for foster parent classes in Nacogdoches, Lufkin, just 60-odd miles down the road from Possum Trot." End quote. However, in the film, this moment is truncated to just hearing the call of God and making a life-changing decision for an entire household and the adopted kids, instead of what Donna actually recounts as being a fairly introspective series of events. The result starts the film off with kind of a crappy message that if you're depressed, you should just adopt or have kids. When the reality was that Donna, by her recollection, sounded well-intentioned and determined to follow in her mother's footsteps after thinking about such a big decision. This is the kind of rushed concession the plot has to take so it can fit everything in a runtime that is still over 2 hours. We then follow an aid worker named Susan, who is going to get a kid named Terry from a bad adopted home. It's a very kind of cringeworthy scene where the kid apparently acts like a cat, and the bad foster parent chalks it up to environmental issues and abuse. I had to look this up to find out that the real-life Terry was 9, not 12, like the movie later states. From the same blog post by Donna Martin, quote, Terry had been left alone so much and was so traumatized she insisted she was a cat. No therapist or psychiatrist could convince her to stop saying it. Well, it turns out that a tomcat was often her only companion. When we picked her up, she jumps into our back seat and curled up like a scared animal. I'm a cat, she said. Lord, I asked, how am I going to help this poor girl? Only thing I could think of was to tell her the truth. Quote, Terry, we love cats in our family, but out in the country where we live, they sleep outside, and we have a nice bed for you inside. We pulled up to our house. She crawled up to the front porch and stared at our yard. She crouched there on all fours, taking it in, her eyes wide as a cat's. Then slowly she stood. I don't want to be a cat anymore, she announced. End quote. Now, this is one of my biggest problems with the film because it's a very subtle one. But from Donna's story, Terry's cat behavior sounds like an innocent childhood game a 9-year-old would play. But by aging Terry up to 12 and later 13, yet still engaging in cat behavior as what the film depicts as a coping trauma mechanism, I find this worrying. This is entirely speculation, but I feel this depiction is going to play in perceptions of transness in kids, specifically because of Terry's age and the cat thing, which feels related to the long debunked lie we've talked about many times about litter boxes in schools for kids who identify as cats, something that has never happened. I don't know if this is intentional, and I'd like to believe it's not, but I feel like many will look at this movie and use it as a justification to go, see, if your kid says there's something you don't think they are, just give them some tough love, which is a awful lesson to impart. That might just be an overly cautious reading of the material. Anyway, back to the main story. After adopting the first 2 kids, other families joined Donna's crusade for reasons that are never fully explained. It's never appropriately explored as an issue for the church, yet when the adopted kids show up, the entire church greets them, which is all well and good, and it's a very sweet moment. At the end of the service, a church member approaches Donna and rudely says that adopted kids can ruin these adults' lives, saying she had a family that adopted kids that ended up in prison, and drawing a comparison between that person and this 7-year-old kid. The pastor and wife do finally adopt a kid of their own, and it's a great moment. But this is the kind of movie where every beat is explained to you by how much the music swells. Like when the music swells, it swells. It is making sure you are paying attention and feeling emotions. When Mrs. Martin meets her adopted daughter, there is a good moment where you see these 2 kids get to be kids in a family that appears eager to love them. And as the mother is checking them over and showing them their wounds, she finds the little boy has scars all over. It's a very emotional moment. And then the kid has a PTSD attack when she turns the water on in the faucet for him to take a bath. For a young actor, it's a really believable performance, and I was honestly incredibly moved by this scene as the parents sit with him in silence, looking at each other, trying to comfort him, and realizing what adoption might actually entail for the first time. And after seeing this trauma, the pastor is moved to ask his congregation to join them and adopt other at-risk youth. The pastor says, "These kids are going to cause me problems. Ain't you all cause problems too?" To me, this emotional speech is the highlight of the movie, and maybe an entire reason to see it for some. He talks about God never saying life was going to be easy, but that real religion is in the struggle to help others because it's the right thing to do. The world would legitimately be a better place if every Christian practiced their faith like how this movie portrays it. They then get 22 families to want to adopt, specifically asking for tough cases. The pastor and his wife ask for Terry, the cat girl. The social worker talks about her mother killing her younger sister and Terry being a victim of a pimp and torture from that abuser. So this kid is a tough case. They get Terry, introduce her. She doesn't call them by their parents' names and says she's a cat. They try to take it easy on her with indulging it as a fantasy, and she just starts walking around and meowing. A bunch of other kids get in tiffs saying, "You're not a cat, you're a girl." And the pastor gets chicken giblets and puts them outside for a cat to eat on the porch. And this just cures what the movie depicts as a trauma response. Already, we can see that this is kind of nothing like what happened. Again, the original version, as Donna herself described it, seemed to be just a quick game with Terry, while the film wants to depict it as something much more pathological, which I think is not a great route. Moving on from Terry, the pastor tries to take the idea to a megachurch that's not willing to risk its neck on such a risky project. He chastises the asshole bigger church preacher and walks away without funding from the larger church to help his struggling rural church. This is a great moment when the pastor confides in his wife his frustration with the larger church not helping this struggling community, saying, "Why isn't it his business? We worship the same Jesus. He's my brother." I have no real notes with how the church and the politics around it are depicted here. Coming from relatively humble Lutheran churches myself, I know how hard life can be for pastors and wives on often incredibly meager earnings. The actors for WC and Donna do a great job of making you feel their struggle, but also the bond that they have, and it's the emotional heart of the movie. Unfortunately, it often feels at the expense of the kids who are being adopted. See, the movie only really focuses on Terry, more specifically, on the trouble she causes with other kids and her trauma responses. She fights, steals clothes, and after a flash forward to a year later, she's still doing cat stuff when she thinks nobody is looking. The year leap forward also brings up a lot of questions, because right after it happens, Terry appears to say and learn a lot of things for the first time, like telling Donna her real mom beat her, and she seems to witness a baptism for the first time after being there for a year, when she's adopted by the pastor of a Baptist church. It feels like a jump that wasn't in the script originally, but was put in later to force a better sense of growth, and it does not work because of the questions that it brings up, like these. Another adopted kid from another family has an outburst in church, and Miss Martin pontificates on the trauma from parental abuse. Before finding another adopted family might be abusing their kid, but she doesn't intervene, she just leaves? This scene was weird because we later kind of learned it wasn't meant to be depicting abuse. The kid was just having an outburst and the parent was breaking down from stress. But that's not shown, leaving me at the time to think the kid was being abused and Donna just left. It's just a kind of poorly shot scene that's a little confusing. Terry runs off to meet with a boy in the middle of the night. They check in with a psychiatrist and CPS lady and say she might need a better home. But, like, a lot of the stuff Terry does isn't that bad. Maybe she did worse stuff in real life that they had to cut out for a PG-13 rating, but she's literally just doing regular teenager stuff, sneaking out and being angsty, until her mom is cleaning her room and she finds Terry has a knife under her pillow. And she says she doesn't want anyone to come into her room and hurt her like her biological mom's friends did, which leads Miss Martin to try and hold her and Terry to push her away, and the two get in a fight. Miss Martin immediately feels bad and has an outburst where she regrets taking the kids and realizes she's not like her mom. This is a good moment, except aside from Terry, we don't get why the other kids are frustrated. And also, this is again just kind of focusing on the emotional turmoil of the parents. We hear everyone is falling apart, but we're not actually seeing that. We see Terry kind of having some issues, but the Martins also appear to either react with stern commanding or love bombing. There are so many opportunities for small moments in the film that go uncapitalized, and again, I think it's because of how long it has to run. We get another rousing sermon imploring the church to come back together for the adopted kids, now that everybody's struggling. The kids we didn't see much of either because the film has largely been focused on Donna and Terry. Though we get some good community moments as he calls the families to rely on each other, saying the greatest in his kingdom is the service of others. The community comes together, helping each other fix cars, working with each other's kids, helping clean houses, and deal with trauma in a series of vignettes that would be much more interesting as the actual plot of the film. These moments are just passed over as we hear Miss Martin talk about moments that will try your soul, but we don't see what's trying the soul. We get brief vignettes with characters I don't even remember the names of, and helping them and their kids. This is the point where I think the movie is really buckling, because there's this huge story about all these families and these kids, but it's already focusing on Terry, Donna, and WC to mixed result. Terry, depicted as ever the problem kid, wears more immodest clothes at school with makeup and lip gloss. She brings boys into bathrooms and it's heavily inferred that she is pimping herself out. Afterwards, we see her crying in the bathroom as the boy leaves, likely having been assaulted. This is another thing I think may give viewers the wrong idea or validate the idea they already have. The way trauma is depicted here could easily lead people to believe that sex work or sexual validation is from trauma and that it leaves someone broken, and in turn that only broken, traumatized people seek out sexual validation. It's also super important to note that Terry is basically depicted by everything from the script to the camera as asking for it when she's assaulted. For a PG-13 movie, they try and tackle the subject matter with a bit of tact, but it needed so much more, because this scene in particular is kind of vile and feels a lot like victim blaming. Once again, Miss Martin tries to love bomb and support Terry in her own kind of misguided way, and Terry lashes out. She runs away after stealing the car. Fearing she may be suicidal based on some things she says, Miss Martin runs down a neighbor to try and take after her. Terry is driving erratically. WC finds the car in the woods, finding Terry has fled. And the whole community comes together to begin searching the woods for Terry in what is kind of the culmination of the film. Terry wanders out to a lake to baptize herself, mimicking the baptism she saw earlier in the film. The social worker, Susan, is also called out by the rude lady from the beginning of the movie, and Miss Martin ends up finding Terry resting on the shore. She lays down, and they have a heart-to-heart moment showing Terry that she really does love her. And Susan sees how much the Martins care and know they're the right home. When everybody goes home, the family talks out some trauma as Terry breaks down in her adopted mother's arms, and the music swells once again to let you know this is a victorious moment. And it is a very well done moment, to be honest, even if it runs a little long. And the film is now over. We get a good side-by-side end with the parents and the kids and the actors who played them. And then an actual message from Bishop and First Lady Donna Martin to deliver a plea that 100,000 children deserve a better life, that you can make a difference, and this is the time for action. It's an inspiring message to get active in your church, in your community, and look into adoption. Actually, oh wait, no, it's just a QR code. This part really put a damper on the limited goodwill I had built up towards the film.
Zone compromised.
This movie is clunky with a lot of the incredibly heavy themes that it's tackling, but I don't think so out of a place of malice, but rather goodwilled ignorance, which is problematic in its own way. That being said, this ending bit and using the people behind what should be an inspirational story to essentially pad the bottom dollar of Angel Studios' box office for this film is really reprehensible. Outside of this Pay It Forward campaign simply spreading the message of the film, there's no way to tell or even say how this is going to help 100,000 children, when there are actually kids out there who do need help in adoption services. And look, I don't actually blame the Reverend and his wife for doing this, because from all accounts, they're still running a relatively small church, even after they've had stories featured about them in 700 Club, Oprah, and now a movie made. Like, these really do feel like great salt-of-the-earth small-town people. And if you have a company coming to you saying, hey, we want to share your story and inspire others to help kids like you did, being as old as they are, they probably just said, yeah, that sounds good, and didn't give it too much thought. The impetus here is firmly on Angel Studios, and I think it really, really sucks. So there's The Sound of Hope. Is it as bad as Sound of Freedom? Damn no. I'm mostly worried with how it relies on stereotypes about abuse and perpetuates false ideas around trauma and identity, and how it centers the emotional journey of the adoptive parents looking for validation rather than the children overcoming trauma and living happy lives. However, while some people will imbibe these messages possibly passively, for the most part, the active messages of the film are good, compared to something like Sound of Freedom, which basically advocated going and making sex trade in South America even worse by upping the demand from white tourists like those in Operation Underground Railroad. Sound of Hope has the advantage because it's genuinely a movie that I think wants to do well. I don't think it was a film that was made with malice, and I think it was made in the spirit of trying to bring awareness to an important issue. Growing up, my own mother would often think about adopting, and as an adult, I've resolved to give a kid a home when I'm ready and able to start and support a family. This is an important issue that often goes incredibly unsung, especially when it comes to Christians who want to say that every life is sacred, yet often leave so many of those sacred lives to flounder in the foster support system. Which is why it's so damn frustrating to see Angel Studios using it and the real people behind the story to launch into another Pay It Forward campaign. Angel Studios firmly aims their films at an older demographic of churchgoers, people who have goodwill towards these ideas and, like Sound of Freedom, are likely to be moved uncritically by these campaigns, in turn giving them money. Money that they might say goes towards helping kids, but in reality only seems to be going towards their bottom line. Ultimately, the success of this film will be gauged less by the box office than by what kind of foot it gets into the mainstream door, especially as it comes to the Daily Wire. Before release, the very first time I heard about this film was because of a Daily Wire press release announcing their ongoing partnership with Angel Studios to release Possumtron. It's hard to say what that partnership entails because Daily Wire branding doesn't appear anywhere in the film. Maybe it was too last minute for adjustments, but there's something odd about how Daily Wire is just shilling the hell out of this movie, yet Angel Studios has barely nodded in their direction. I'm assuming Daily Wire is doing it hoping to get in on the ground floor of exclusive streaming rights on their platform after missing out on Sound of Freedom. Either way, Sound of Hope also seems to be following the steps of Cabrini and After Death, and very likely will not even meet back its budget. At least, not in terms of box office receipts. Like I said, without the controversy from Sound of Freedom, just popping from Angel Studios, the studio that brought you Sound of Freedom, on a poster doesn't seem to be bringing in the same box office receipts that I think both Angel Studios and Daily Wire have wanted, especially giving the film a title like The Sound of Hope, literally planting in viewers' minds the similarity between the two films, despite the fact that they aren't related in literally any way. Will we see a third film next year? Are they going to buy some shelved project from 5 years ago and put a new subtitle on it? Like, what would even go with Angel Studios' rhetoric? Sound of Trauma? Sound of Abused Children? Sound of Election Fraud? Either way, let me know what you thought of this video, and if you would like me to watch any other films like this coming out soon. There is a feature film from the Epic Times coming in August, so let me know if you want me to take a look at that. And as always, thank you very much for watching. If you would like to help me continue making content, which I do as a full-time job, please be sure to check out the Patreon and the links listed down below so you can join these jazzy people right here flying across your screen. If you've seen the film, let me know what you thought of it, or if you were dragged to it by your grandparents. I'm willing to bet more than a few people were over 4th of July weekend. That being said, thank you once again, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on and sit on down because we're talking about something that's Today we're going to be talking about the most haunted locations in America. Now, a lot of these locations I've heard of before as well, but I've never actually dove into some of these. Like some of these we're going to be talking about have movies based around them or whatever. But I was actually curious to see some of the most haunted places in America. I mean, I believe in ghosts. Cringe. I know. All the scientists, all the elite, very, very smart people who watch this channel and leave wonderful comments are going to say, Hunter, what are you talking about? I've come in contact with a few ghosts myself, Nick.
Now when? When? What ghost?
Well, I couldn't see him or anything, but it was, but let me know. I'll say this is that I hate going into a building and feeling that little, what did you just experience a ghost? He just shivered. You just shivered. Did you just experience a ghost?
I have to pee.
You have to pee? Well, you better hold it. So just know that I've had my own little run-in with ghosts laying down, and my friend, it kind of sounds like I'm having gay sex with my friend, laying down, had sleepovers with my buddies, and then you hear something creak. Oh, what? And I hate when people are like, it's just the house settling. Really, dude? It's a 23-year-old house. It's just settling. The tectonic plates are shifting. If it was like a house from the 1800s, I'd be like, sure.
What if the house is built on burial grounds?
No, go ahead and say Indian burial grounds, dude. What, Indian burial grounds? That's offensive, dick. First up, we have Amityville. We want to start with some of the heavy hitters so then people can be like, I know that. Amityville is like the most popular haunted house, and I think it's even recorded to be the most haunted house ever, which I don't know how you clarify the most haunted, which I'm guessing they just mean like the most documented hauntings. Notorious haunted house, whatever. It started its legend in Amityville, New York on November 13th, 1974, when 23-year-old Ronald DeFeo Jr., good guy, shot and killed 6 members of his family. Jumped the gun on that one a little bit. This included his mother, father, 2 sisters, and 2 brothers. Got the whole goddamn cheaper by the dozen family in there, don't they? Armed with a .35 caliber Marlin rifle, DeFeo shot his family members as they slept. How do they all stay asleep? Oh, it's a big house. Or do you think he like put a pillow over it? You ever played like Max Payne 3? There's like a level where he puts a plastic bottle over the tip of his gun as a silencer, and I'm like, would that work?
I think Mythbusters did that.
And they said it didn't work. It's a cool idea, at least. Just like a thing of Mountain Dew. He shot most of them in the head and a few of them in the back. That seems cool. Even from a guy who's possessed or something, just shoot all of them in the head. If you're gonna, come on.
I think the ones he hated the most, he shot in the back.
Oh, he definitely shot his family in the back. Dad's like, oh, he'd probably take a couple shots in the back to kill somebody. Originally, DeFeo blamed the murders on a mob hitman. It was the Italians that killed my family. The Italians. But as time passed, Ronaldo DeFeo confessed to the murders himself. DeFeo told investigators that he heard voices urging him to kill his family. I was hoping my life would go in this trajectory, dude. That angels or demons would tell me. The angels came and told me to shoot my dad 3 times in the back. This is the day after your sister, like, I don't know, broke your sick Lego collection. Like, I just got the Eye of Sauron Lego set and she broke it. Angels told me to kill her, told me to throw her down the well. I don't know. Way back in the 70s, people got to be way more susceptible to being like, wait, what? Angels told you to do this? Not a bad fall plan. But later, during the trial, he admitted to being drunk and high on heroin, and his parents were abusive. Okay, there it is. The little angel, the little demon on my shoulder was a bag of H. Heroin. Oh, he's drunk and he's high on heroin. All right, I'll be honest. I had a couple brewskis, a couple syringes of heroin, and my dad hit me with a belt. What am I supposed to do? Wait! Today we want to thank today's partner, Bad Dragon. If you've been a fan of this channel, then you know that Bad Dragon is a permanent fixture on this channel. They have supported us time and time again, and we want to give you the little ins and outs on what they provide. Let's say you're trying to spice things up a little bit. Maybe you want to spice up day mans. Maybe you want to spice up day womans a little bit, right? Maybe you just want to spice up yourself. Well, then Bad Dragon may be the perfect fit for you. And by fit, I mean you're going to shove things inside you and it's going to make you feel real good. Or you're going to shove things inside something else. It doesn't matter. All I know is Bad Dragon's products are expertly made. They're handcrafted. They're beautiful. And it's some of the best quality control I've ever seen. We've been to their facility. We've seen how their workers operate. It's such a positive, amazing experience. And it reflects so much in the product itself. And I could not recommend them enough. So please go check out Bad Dragon if you're trying to spice things up for yourself or in the bedroom. And be sure you tell them Papa Meat sent you. So thank you, Bad Dragon, for sponsoring this video, and back to the video. DeFeo was found guilty of 6 counts of second-degree murder and was sentenced to 6 consecutive life sentences in prison. Never understood the consecutive life sentences.
It's in case you're immortal.
Well, especially if he comes back and maybe possesses someone and they're like, we know it's the ghost of DeFeo. Get him in prison. He's like, no! In the years since his claim of hearing voices, he has admitted to the lie, claiming, quote, there was no demon. You know who the demon is? I am the demon. To be fair, that does sound like something a demon would say.
He's just admitting that there is a demon.
No, there is no demon. I'm the fucking demon. They're just like, what? He's like, no, the entire altercation likely stemmed from DeFeo's theft of $20,000 from his grandfather's car dealership. Fuck this kid. He was tasked with depositing money to the bank, but ultimately had a friend stage the robbery. His father eventually grew suspicious and questioned him, earning a death threat that his son followed up on. So literally his dad was like, did you take $20,000 from Pop at his Toyota Camry dealership? And he's like, no, Dad, I'll fucking slice your throat. He's like, okay, come on, man. And he's like, I'm just like drunk. He's like, I'm gonna get high on heroin and kill my dad. To be fair, though, I hate to say this, Nick. I hate to say this. If I was already drunk and high on heroin and I was planning on killing my dad, I'd probably just follow through with the whole family.
Oof. You're fucked, dude.
Come on, man. If you're going down with one shipper, you're not going to just go down with them all?
But he didn't kill himself either. That includes you. If you're going to kill your whole family, kill yourself.
I'm not so self-centered, Nick. I don't think I'm my family. But a year after the murders, George and Kathy Lutz bought the Amityville home, and they abandoned the property only 28 days after purchasing it. They were in such a hurry, they reportedly left all of their personal belongings behind. I like that. Coming in and you're just like, well, what happened? Like the idea. I was gonna speculate. It's like, do you think a lot of the horror movie tropes, haunted house tropes today stem from the Amityville house? But there's haunted house fucking movies before the 70s. House on Haunted Hill.
Maybe they were copying.
That's what I'm wondering is the Lutzes were like, hey, let's buy this house where all these that heroin addict killed that Toyota dealership owner, and we'll just say that it's haunted and we'll make a killing off of it.
Oh, you know what? They did buy it 1 year afterwards.
A year after the murders? Come on, dude. Usually in movies, the haunted house thing's like, the old DeFante house up on 12th Street? That thing's been empty for 10 years. Or something, you know what I mean? Something like that. And then you walk in, there's sheets over everything. You whip them on, there's big dust. A year afterwards? Come on. Come on. Yeah, right. They claimed that demons drove them out. What if they just found like his heroin and they were just high? They were too embarrassed to, yeah, it's demons, I swear to God. And they offered up tales of green slime in the walls, fly infestations, mysterious cold spots, a red room, and strange voices in the night. George Lutz reported waking up at 3:15 every night, which is the approximate time of the DeFeo murders, which 3:15 is very close to 3:30, which is the demonic witching hour. Kind of ties in a little bit. He also claimed to hear voices urging him to get out and saw a face in the fireplace with red, glowing eyes. Kathy Lutz reported feeling as if she was being embraced by an unseen force and levitating off the bed. Jesus Christ, Kathy, goddamn. She's like, something's holding me and I'm flying. Can you imagine her around she's like laying in the house. She's like, like flying around the house. George! Oh my God, my wife, I just saw a Apache man's face in the fireplace and I don't even know what the hell's happening here. The youngest child, Missy, spoke to her imaginary friend Jody, who appeared as a demonic pig with red glowing eyes. Okay, first off, stop saying glowing red fucking eyes, dude. The more people are like, and it had glowing red eyes. That's why I'm like, no, it didn't. You're lying.
Why?
She had me on imaginary friend who is a demonic pig. A demonic pig named Jody? Are you fucking kidding me? That's creepy. You ever have a younger sibling, or I had a buddy who had a brother who used to like point up at their kitchen ceiling. He'd clap. And we'd be like, dude, stop. What are you looking at? And he's like, my friend. That kind of I hate that. I don't give a fuck if you're a believer or not. A little kid, like, he's like, we're going to our hiding place. Like that. Orphanage.
Jesus.
I don't give a fuck. If my child did that, fostering him up. Send him up the hill to the orphanage, dude. He can clap up there. All the kids who are cool, who aren't fucking psychopaths with imaginary friends, you get to stay. Not you, little Missy. What's the kid's name? The Lutz family supposedly hired Father Pecarero to bless the home. He went on to say that he was told to, quote, get out. By an invisible voice and was slapped.
This scenario is
Get out of here, you son of a bitch, and just slapped him in the face. He's like, the Lord has abandoned this home. And a man named William Weber, who was DeFeo's lawyer, admitted to fabricating the story with George Lutz over a bottle of wine. But a polygraph taken by Lutz in 2000 revealed that he wasn't lying. Who's telling the truth? I don't know.
Polygraphs are 100% truthful.
Polygraphs are very unreliable, except when you ask me how big my hog is, and I say very big. And it does. And I'm like, no, it's used. A seance was held at the house in 1976 where parapsychologists, psychics, and noted demonologists Lorraine and Ed Warren would appear. Yes, the people from The Conjuring. I was wondering how long it'd take till they showed up, those old fucks. I wish movies would cast, we were talking about this, like, transport freaks. Lorraine and Ed Warren were tough on the eyes. Greasy, old, like, German couple. Pretty sure something like that. Yikes. Instead, you got Hottie McGee and Hottie McGoo over there playing. Making a Conjuring in my pants. That was not a good joke. Which, when they all, this fucking, I guess, like Avengers team of the paranormal showed up, and nothing happened. Nothing happened at all. And at 3 a.m. in the sewing room, which was said to have the worst reputation, nothing happened in there either. Like, the sewing room was apparently the place where it was the most haunted. Nothing happened. The psychic did say this, though. This is as close to hell as I want to get. Which feels kind of weird because it's like nothing happened. What does that mean? The drive up here in upstate New York was truly devious.
Maybe he was being sarcastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, this is as close to as I want to get. What if there's just like a Puerto Rican guy walking around the house? Oh my God. The 70s. Jesus Christ, the hell.
The house still stands to this day with no further incidents happening, which is very disappointing. How the fuck can that be the most haunted? That's the most haunted place, or supposedly the most haunted place? Which also, it kind of reads, in my opinion, that the guy who killed his family, DeFeo, seems like he killed them, and then the Lutzes moved in, and they were haunted by DeFeo's family. Even if he's like, I lied about the whole thing, maybe he inadvertently caused ghosts to spook the house.
Yeah, the people that he murdered are haunted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. All right. Oh, okay. The Lutz family experiences were later documented in Jay Anson's 1977 book, The Amityville Horror, which became a bestseller and was adapted into a film in 1979. Which I will say, Amityville 3D was the first horror film I ever watched. I had a poster of it in my studio. At the end of that movie, a weird sewer goblin pops out, burns a guy's face, and drags him into a watery portal, and the house fucking like explodes. It like freezes up and explodes, and it scared the shit out of me when I was younger.
If you want to watch an even scarier version of Amityville Horror,
You talk about the one where I get all fucking bricked up watching Ryan Gosling chop wood.
No, Ryan Gosling's in it?
He's the dad. He's the dad in the 2005 one, or like the 2006. When was that remake?
2004.
I'm gonna say 2000. I'm gonna say 2006. Amityville, 2005. Fuck, they're so close. All right, well, fuck. Next up, we have East Maritello Fort in Key West, Florida. It's not necessarily a place, it's more of a doll, but it's more so the doll. Wherever the doll is, it's haunted, so we went ahead and included it in because it's a very notorious doll, which the doll is called Robert the fucking doll. Manufactured by the Steiff Company of Germany around the 1900s. The doll was given to a young boy named Robert Eugene Otto, which people usually just called him Gene. Should have called him Bob. I love when guys are called Bob. There's no name you can age it better to than Bob. Robert when you're younger? Bob. Bob is such a good old person name.
I feel like it's so generic.
Test the guy. You're dude. So I meet Nicks I know in my fucking life. Unbelievable, man. The doll was given by his family's Bahamian servant. The Bahamian servant was rumored to be skilled in voodoo and black magic. That's so racist. He's like, is the doll, little boy?
Zone contested. Allied forces on zone B.
The Bahamian servant went, "Hey, Gene, take this little doll and put it in your knapsack now. Going to be your best friend, you hear?" And Gene's dad was like, "My God, the help knows voodoo and black magic. What cost did you bring upon the doll, servant?" Upon receiving him, Gene named the doll after himself, calling him Robert, which is one of the creepiest things I've ever heard. Imagine getting a doll and you're just like, "Hello, my doll's name's Hunter." Your parents aren't like, "You're not a psychopath, you're my beautiful boy." No way.
Is that Robert?
It could
Enemy
be.
action on zone B.
Jesus Christ, it's like, give me a fucking epilepsy attack over here. Look at this. Robert the doll is approximately 40 inches tall and is stuffed with wood and wool. He is dressed in a sailor suit that is believed to have belonged to Gene as a child. Once again, it's even fucking creepier. I'm gonna have him wear my little sailor suit. This used to be mine, Robert. The doll's just like, kill me. Put me in a wood chipper immediately. The doll's face is painted with a disturbing, almost human-like expression. He has large, beady eyes, a painted-on smile, and is holding some kind of weird stuffed toy lion or dog. Gene became extremely attached to Robert, treating him as a companion and a confidant. Kids just treat me the fuck out. I always hate when kids are just like, "I tell them my secrets." You ever hear kids say that? I had cousins who were much younger than me. He had like a little doll too, and he'd be like, "I tell them my secrets." And I'd be like, "What secrets could you possibly have?" "It would be a secret if I told you." And they always drop some shit like that. And you're like, holy shit. It is said that Gene would often blame mishaps on the doll, saying, "Robert did it!" Gene's parents would often find his toys mutilated or destroyed. Rooms would be found in disarray, with furniture overturned and belongings scattered. Gene would wake up screaming in the middle of the night, claiming that Robert was moving around his room or trying to harm him. Doesn't really sound like a friend to me, dude. Robert keeps giving me Charlie horses. Robert keeps playing tap out with me. Just blacked out on the floor. Robert suplexed him into the fucking ground. He also blamed the doll for causing him to have terrifying nightmares and sleep disturbances. And he believed that the doll had a malevolent influence and could cause physical harm to him indirectly.
So that's like, I think he tripped.
Robert did it! Robert did it! Drag hands away! Be honest, if you were the parent of Gene, how much of this do you put up with?
Oh, I'd get rid of the doll.
That's what I don't understand is that's the obvious. Well, you know what he's probably doing? Oh, bring him back. He's my best friend. It seems so far like a child who's desperately wanting attention from his family. And the only person to give him any kind of attention love is the fucking Bahamian servant. He sees him like crying. He's like, hey, I wish I had from my dad. Never wants to hang out with me. He's like, don't worry, little boy Gene.
Zone B is compromised.
Wipe your tears. I give you a new friend.
His name is Robert, like you.
His name good to be Robert,
Zone
like
contested.
you. Thank you, Bahamian servant.
Cut your hand.
All right, strangle this chicken to death and cut your hand and put it into the bowl.
You want Robert to live, right?
Do you want Robert to live or do you want to keep crying? Slice it up and like, Jesus Christ. The Otto family and their servants reported hearing Gene having conversations with the doll. And sometimes the doll would respond in a different, deeper voice. Robert, do you think I'm pretty? Oh, yes. The Bahamian servant's like, what kind of gift did I give to this child? Or if you're the dad, you're like reading the paper. Robert, I don't know if I should look at that. Come on, Gene. It's not a big deal. The dad's like, turns the paper.
Do you think that's what inspired The Shining? Come on.
Oh, probably. Red rum, red rum. Whatever. There's like a lot of tropes of that kind of stuff. Or like kids being like, I don't know. There were also claims of Robert changing expressions and moving independently. That didn't happen. That's like some slapping goosebump shit. Gene's parents and later his wife Anne noted that Gene's behavior would change dramatically when he was around the doll. How long did he have this doll for? How old was he when he got married? He has to be an adult, right? My best man's gonna give you a kiss, honey. Takes the doll and puts it to his face. In her ear, he's just like, oh, get it for both of us, yeah. He's like, okay, thank God you're rich, or else I wouldn't fucking be here. So yeah, Gene's behavior would change dramatically when he was around the doll. He would become more agitated, irritable, and at times even aggressive. Seems like he kind of has a fuck relationship with the doll.
He would hit Anne and then blame it on Robert.
Yeah, there.
Robert, why would you do that?
Yeah, Gene punches her as hard as he can in the chest. Gene gives her a fucking dead leg. She's like, what the fuck, Gene? He's like, oh, it wasn't me. It was Robert. Robert, you gave me so much trouble. It's like laying on the floor or whatever. He's like wrapping like chains around his like wrist and shit. And he's like, what are you going to make me do, Robert? Even as an adult, Gene continued to believe in Robert's supernatural abilities. Gene's a fucking psychopath. He's scaring the shit out of me. When he and his wife Anne moved back into the family home, Gene placed Robert in a room of his own, often referring to it as Robert's room. It seems like a guy back in the day, like way back in the day, who's like, that's like his jack-off room. You don't want to go in Robert's room. No matter what you do, don't go in there. Respect his privacy, Anne. Anne reportedly experienced the same unsettling phenomena and grew to fear the doll, insisting it be locked away. Despite her efforts, Gene would often find ways to retrieve the doll and keep it close. If I was the wife, I'd be like, put the fucking doll up, dude. He's got to be mentally gone. He's like, he told me he was scared in there. I had to come get him. He told me he was scared. Like, you're 43 years old. You need to fucking thwart giving it away. After Gene's death in 1974, the house was sold, and the new owners reported strange occurrences, such as the doll moving to different rooms, giggling, and unsettling accidents happened around the house. Visitors reported feeling uneasy in Robert's presence, and many claimed that the doll's expressions changed in response to things being said around him. That's so crazy. After he's dead, they still just have the fucking doll out and about. They like guest her around. They're like, hey, can you put up the fucking Victorian like weird voodoo doll, please? And they're just like, we can't. It's in the will. Gene's ghost is here haunting us. We can't do it. After changing hands a few times, Robert was donated to the Fort East Martello Museum with claims of him moving about. Cameras and electronics devices supposedly misbehave around him, so we unfortunately don't have any footage of Robert moving. Damn, I really thought that we were going to see a puppet move. Oh my God, wait, we do have one caught on camera from Jonathan's Other Adventures. Thank you, Jonathan. So I went to Key West, Florida in 2018 to meet Robert the doll. After I viewed my video footage, I was shocked to see that Robert had moved his foot all by himself. What? As well as captured a ghostly orb next to his arm. So I'm showing you guys what I've captured. Here's the footage. That is a creepy fucking doll, though, if I'm being honest. It's even creepier knowing that like a Bahamian servant was just like, I got this for you. Are those feet? That's its feet? Boy's got some club feet, dude. He's got some fucking like elephant feet.
Jesus.
He said there was an orb by his arm, right? Oh, right there. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Did you see it?
on the left side of the door frame. Gene definitely had to fuck Robert once, right?
He pegged him.
Watch this foot. Watch, it's the chair moves back and then forward. Whoa. It looks like his foot moved all by itself. Please tell me what you guys think. I think that the fucking chair moved back. Robert's legend continues to grow to this day. And it is said that anyone who disrespects a doll or takes his photo without his permission will be cursed. So hopefully none of you guys took a screenshot of my video or you're gonna be fucked. Technically we're cursed because we're technically capturing his deal.
Domination.
And my really sick Logitech monitor just spazzed out. Or Samsung. Letters from previous visitors apologizing for their behavior and asking for Robert's forgiveness are displayed near his case, often recounting misfortunes such as accidents, illnesses, and financial troubles that occurred after visiting him. Imagine they're just like, well, we're going bankrupt. Thanks for that, Robert. After he was moved during the last hurricane, he was tied down to the chair he sits in with a fishing line. After the change, movement stopped being reported, but comments that he twitches his head and swallows remains.
Allied forces on Zone B. Capture zone contested.
Yeah, not bad about that. Next up, we have the notorious Winchester House, which is just this story is very odd. If you guys haven't heard this one, it's pretty funny. The Winchester House is a sprawling mansion located in San Jose, California, known for its bizarre labyrinth-like design because the bitch who owned the place is crazier than all hell. She's crazier than a shithouse rat, which is one of my favorite expressions. My grandpa used to say it a lot. My mom used to say it a lot because they're white trash. It was the personal residence of Sarah Winchester, the widow of William Winchester, the heir to the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. It's a gun company. Bang, 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 bang. Sarah built the house after she inherited a vast fortune from her husband's death. Just like Bezos' wife did. Just like Bezos' wife. She also lost her daughter, Annie, just weeks after her birth due to malnutrition. Jesus Christ. The successive losses of her daughter and husband deeply affected Sarah, leading to prolonged periods of mourning and isolation.
Basically, that's what made her crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Extreme depression and trauma. She's probably just like, well, especially like that far back, because this is like 1800s. You'd definitely be like, oh, cursed, we're cursed. The Winchester name's cursed. Legend has it that she was advised by a medium in Boston that she was haunted by the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles, and that she needed to continuously build a house to appease these spirits. That seems like that should be illegal to say that to a billionaire widow. Especially like a manic woman who probably shows up and she's like, yeah, I'll give you all the gold. Just tell me what's wrong. She was told that if she stopped, she would die. If you stop building your house, you're gonna fucking die too. Construction on the mansion began in 1884 and continued non-stop, 24 hours a day until Sarah Winchester's death in 1922. That's fucking insane. The construction was guided by her own designs and was influenced by her superstitions and desire to confuse the spirits she was believed were haunting her. I mean, the actual labyrinth of this house is unreal. Like the way hallways end or connect with each other doesn't make any sense. It's an actual labyrinth, which I always thought ever since the beginning of time that people thought that spirits could just float through walls.
Well, that's the thing. Spirits think they're alive.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Also, apparently, it only cost $5 million in 1884 money, so who knows?
$5 million in 1884 money, so that's got to be like what?
Oh, so $71 million today.
God, $71 million today. That's insane. The house is an architectural marvel with 24,000 square feet, 10,000 windows, 2,000 doors, 160 rooms, 52 skylights, 47 stairways and fireplaces, 17 chimneys, 13 bathrooms, and 6 goddamn kitchens. The house is famous for its unconventional features, including staircases leading to nowhere, doors that open onto blank walls, and windows overlooking other rooms, and secret passages. One of the house's most famous oddities is the door to nowhere, which opens to a sheer drop to the second floor. That's pretty funny.
See, that's gonna get the ghosts. They're gonna open.
Do you think that was, she's just like, fucking the spirit who's haunting me right now, he's gonna walk through and die again. Do you think that she was probably crazy enough to believe that she could kill a ghost?
Friendly securing zone C.
I think if she did believe that, I think that she would probably invest into like Winchester making some kind of ghost gun. Or she has the things, she's just like, in her house. Another peculiar feature is a staircase that leads directly into the ceiling, ending abruptly without any purpose. Which, going in this house, this would be fucking creepy. This would be an actual, like, well, it would be like you're on like a set or something, or like...
It'd be like that Escher painting, or you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. But seeing that in real life would be odd, especially if everything was built soundly. You're just like, what the fuck? Because you'd almost think the house is like moving. There's a scene in that movie Grave Encounters where they like go up a staircase and it just leads to a wall. And it's because the actual asylum is like shifting. It's kind of like the movie Cube a little bit too. These elements were purportedly designed to confuse and trap spirits. Visitors and staff have reported various paranormal activities, including hearing footsteps, whispers, and seeing apparitions.
So she didn't want to kill them, she just wanted to confuse them.
And trap them, which I think is fucked up.
Yeah.
You're a trap, and what are you going to do with them?
Oh, you know what? That's what it is. Okay, imagine staircase to nowhere. They walk up, they phase through the door. They don't know how to go, they don't know how to get out.
Here are some of the specific hauntings of this house, though. Many believe that Sarah Winchester herself haunts the mansion. That, of course she does. If ghosts are real, that bitch's spirit is definitely wandering around. Especially it's like a mentally unwell person caught in like a purgatory loop. Definitely. Visitors and staff have reported seeing a woman in a black Victorian dress roaming the halls and disappearing around corners. This figure is often seen in rooms that Sarah frequented, such as her bedroom and the seance room. The seance room. That bitch is fucking creepy, dude. Some of the ghosts are even some of the people who built the goddamn house themselves. Some of these workers have been seen or heard toiling away to this day, still building on to Winchester's large labyrinth.
That'd be hell.
That is hell. That's actually hell. You have to do, a construction worker has to do the same job forever and it never ends. There are reports of disembodied footsteps echoing through the hallways and the sound of hammers and saws in the dead of night, despite no ongoing construction except for the Red Robin being built across the street. One of the most haunted rooms in the house was the seance room. Sarah Winchester used a special room in the house to communicate with the spirits she believed were guiding her in the construction of the mansion. Oh, so she believed that the spirits were like, you need to add this.
She'd go in her seance room and sit down and be like, spirits, what should I do?
Spirits, where should the staircase go? Above the fireplace?
Under the couch.
Yeah, the workers are there. They're just like, a titty bar room, men only room.
She's like, I hear you, spirits. The titty bar will happen now.
Sarah would lock herself in the room from midnight to 2 a.m. and consult with the good spirits on how to continue the construction.
She's like, all right, good spirits, come on in. Bad spirits, stay out.
You think she ever, you don't need to include this in the video.
Yes, she did.
Oh, I was actually going to ask that if she was going to get her, if she got her pussy in. How did you know that? How did you know that? Am I that predictable? I swear to God, that's what I was going to ask. This room, known as the seance room, has no direct entrance or exit. It can only be accessed through a series of secret passages. That is fucking weird. Visitors often feel a sudden drop in temperature, hear whispers, or see flickering lights when they go near this room. Some have even reported feeling an unseen presence or light touch their shoulder.
Those are the good ghosts.
Those are the good ghosts, you say.
Hey,
suck your neck.
You want me to eat your pussy? I'll tell you where to put a staircase at in your house?
Or how about we talk about the wheelbarrow ghost? Barrow? What's a wheelbarrow? One of the most famous ghost stories involves a spectral figure known as the wheelbarrow ghost. The apparition is often seen pushing a wheelbarrow full of coal or ashes down the long hallways. Staff and visitors have reported seeing him in the basement along with various winding corridors of the house. He is described as wearing overalls and a cap, appearing solid at first, only to vanish into thin air upon closer inspection. Or how about the crying lady, aka every woman?
Jeez.
In one of the bedrooms, there have been repeated sightings of a ghostly woman who appears to be crying. She's often seen sitting on the edge of her bed or standing by the window, looking out as if waiting for someone. How tragically romantic. This apparition is usually accompanied by the sound of soft sobbing or whispers that seem to come from nowhere. I hate that, dude. I'm like, grow up. How long are you gonna do this for? Fuck. But there are many cold spots or eerie drafts in this drab mansion. Throughout the mansion, there are numerous reports of sudden cold spots and unexplained drafts. These temperature changes are often accompanied by feelings of unease or the sensation of being watched. What was that? The cold spots are particularly prevalent in rooms where tragic events are believed to have occurred, or where Sarah spent a significant amount of time. Either somebody was bludgeoned to death, or Sarah just kind of stood there sometimes.
Or maybe she was getting her pussy eaten down there.
Or she's probably getting her pussy eaten by a ghost, dude. I'm just saying that we can't count that out.
That's the first thing I would do. If I could talk to ghosts, get some ghost head.
Okay.
Consensual, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you consider ghosts? Of course you do. The mansion is now a popular tourist destination, offering daily tours and exploring its history, architecture, and paranormal stories. Special events like flashlight tours and Halloween events are still hosted to this day. I wouldn't mind going. Yeah, I would actually be scared, though. I'm not gonna lie. If I would definitely. If I went there, I'd be like, huh, What? I'm such a pussy when it comes to that stuff. I would go to this place, I'd be, what, hello? I'm like in a huge group. Did you guys hear that? You're like, no. And next up, we have the Villisca Axe Murder House. Located in Villisca, Iowa, it's the site of one of the most notorious unsolved mass murders in American history. In 1912, the Moore family, along with 2 friends of their children who were staying the night, were brutally murdered in their sleep with an axe. That's one thing I've noticed a lot with like a lot of ghost stories and history stuff. A lot of axe stuff. Everybody was probably cutting wood back then or whatever, but still brutal. That'd be a brutal way to die.
They say it's one of the worst ways to go. Yeah.
All the victims were found in their beds, having been bludgeoned to death with an axe. And the axe was found in the guest room where Stillinger's sister were sleeping. The killer appeared to have covered the mirrors and windows in the house with cloth and clothing. If me memory serves correct, I'm pretty sure they say that demons can come through mirrors. So sometimes you cover them so they can't see you or something like that. I'm pretty sure there's some kind of...
Was that in Constantine? He like jumped out in the mirror and the dude...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that scene actually rules. The Constantine movie is actually fucking sick. All the victims' faces were covered with sheets after they were killed. And the ceiling in the parents' bedroom and the children's room showed gouge marks, presumably from the upswing of the axe. He's a fucking like 7'5" like ogre man. Yeah, he gets stuck.
How did they all sleep through this again?
Well, I mean, if you get a fucking axe to the back of the head or whatever, you're probably not waking up. Yeah, I don't think they were like, he was like, hey, wake up or anything. I think he just went in and probably just fucking did a one and done, I'm pretty sure. If I was a betting man. The investigation saw several suspects, but no one was ever convicted of the crime. But once again, you know, it's 1912. So they're just like, did you do it? The guy's like, no. And they're like, all right, go ahead. The Villisca Axe Murder House is now considered one of the most haunted locations in the United States. Numerous reports of paranormal activity have been recorded, and the houses are a popular destination for ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts like Sam and Colby, who did a video with Joe Rogan because they were on his podcast.
Would you ever want to do a video with Sam and Colby?
Would I ever go to his haunting with Sam and Colby, a haunted house? You know, no. You do not understand. I would be too scared. I don't know if you've seen those videos. It induces a goddamn panic attack. Like, yo! I mean, it flutters me up. I'm like, what? I don't think I can do it. Visitors often report seeing shadowy figures, especially in the children's room and in the attic where the killers believed to have hidden before the murders. I thought it was where the guy hid in the attic before the murders and he climbed up the fucking house. God, I thought it was short.
Wait, I need first aid.
No. Apparitions of the victims have been reported, particularly on the Moore children. Disembodied voices, children's laughter, and cries have been heard. And some visitors have even reported being touched, pushed, or scratched by unseen forces. Paranormal investigators have even captured EVPs that seem to respond directly to questions. These recordings include children's voices saying, "Help me, please," or simply calling out names. Josh. Jamal. Aquarius. Other EVPs feature sounds of distress, such as moans, cries, and pleas for help.
Noted and warranted.
Morty. Many people report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread or sadness upon entering the certain rooms, particularly the attic and the children's rooms. Probably because they know that people were fucking murdered here. I feel sad all of a sudden. There's blood stains all over the walls. I feel bummed. I think I'm being haunted. No, you probably know that fucking kids were murdered in here. Several mediums and psychics have visited the house, claiming to communicate with the spirits of the victims. They often describe the spirits as being in distress and seeking closure. And some mediums have even described playful interactions with children's spirits, such as feeling small hands tugging at their clothes, or sensing a playful energy in the rooms where the children slept. You guys feel like playing? I just feel, all of a sudden, I feel like playing in here. Anybody else? No, me? Okay. Yeah, they're all just adult babies. Anybody else want to play with this cool riding horse or whatever the fuck it's called? Puts it out there and kissing their balls and just like hopping around the room. Mediums have sensed the presence of Josiah and Sarah Moore in the house. Josiah is often described as having a protective energy, trying to watch over his family and even in the afterlife. Sarah's spirit is said to be deeply sorrowful, mourning the loss of her children. Sarah's spirit has reportedly communicated the pain and horror of that night, expressing feelings of helplessness and an overwhelming sense of loss. Yeah, why are you so hung up, dude? It happened. Get over it. Here's the thing. This is gonna sound fucked up. If I was a ghost and it's been 100 years, I think I would have been able to process the kid's fucking passing by now. If they're all spirits or whatever and you're reliving that thing, how many times do you have to fucking relive it before you're just like, it happened? What am I supposed to do, dude? Unless they're in a perpetual time loop where it's new every time. Some psychics have described sensing a replay of the events of the murder night. They feel the terror and confusion that the victims must have experienced. This includes feeling the sudden fear, hearing sounds of the attack, and even feeling a heavy, oppressive atmosphere in certain rooms. That'd be kind of fucked up. Imagine if being there and you're just like, I feel like killing someone with an axe. Another person's just like, I'm feeling like I'm going to get attacked by an axe. It's like each person is experiencing different people in the house. There have been accounts of mediums feeling physical sensations such as tightness in the chest, difficulty breathing, or sharp pains, which they believe correspond to the experience of the victims during the attacks. And many psychics have focused on the attic, believed to be where the killer hid before committing the murders. They often sense a dark, malevolent presence in the space. The energy is described as heavy and oppressive, causing the feelings of dread and discomfort. And in the attic, it's also reported to contain the residual fear of the victims. Psychics sense the terror and panic that emanates from this area, believing it to be a hotspot for paranormal activity. The children's bedroom is often described as the most emotionally charged area, and psychics feel the innocence and playfulness of the children's spirits contrasted with the horror of the final moments.
Do they think a demon killed them with the axe? They think the attic is the most haunted?
I think that they're saying that the guy spent the most time up there brewing these dark thoughts that he was going to do. So maybe he like left behind this like horrible evil energy or something. Like, I'm going to fucking kill him or something. You know, like that kind of thing. So that's just like that energy's left over there. I don't know. But there's so many more mysterious, weird, haunted places in America. We just scratched the surface, but I have to leave you today. Did you get titillated? Did you get scared? I don't know. I think haunted houses are kind of interesting. I think everybody has like a weird ghost story somehow. Even non-believers, I think, have a little brush with fear every once in a while. And haunted houses are just weird artifacts to horrible, horrible things that happen. And it is just weird urban legends standing as monolithic, weird structures that still remain haunting to this day.
Oz Media gave Illuminati a chance to settle this case once and for all, so that this wouldn't be something that would drag on for years and years and cost everybody involved tons of money. This was all in his Dear Illuminati video, something which we spoke about in my previous video on this. And this is because, as you will know at this stage, Illuminati has been trying to sue her former friends and employees for things like defamation and breach of contract. If you don't know about this, I have covered this in previous videos. You can check it out in the description. They are all short and sweet, so you can just figure out what's going on there. But I can't go over all of it again in this video, because if I do that in every single video, the videos are going to end up being 6 hours long. There's no need for me to do that. I don't think I physically can do that. And you'll all be bored anyway if you do know what's going on. So just check out those videos if you're confused. But just for a recap, here is the offer that Oz Media gave to Blair to settle this case.
My settlement to you, Blair, would allow you to follow the morals that your channel has advocated for. Or, in your words, be dedicated to upholding your channel's values and delivering on your commitments. Or, as this handy video you uploaded a week before you sent out cease and desist states.
When something as horrible as this happens, people always come out and admit fault and tell the horrifying truth of their continued negligence and malpractice, right? Yeah, you're right, that never happens. What am I thinking? Instead, they usually do their best to hide everything and blame anyone but themselves, and wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what happened here too.
My settlement offer is for you to drop the lawsuit, for all parties involved. Even Wonder, with prejudice. I won't file counterclaims and would no longer be required to upload the second part to this video.
And just a reminder, with prejudice means that she can't withdraw the claim and then make a new claim again about the same stuff.
And what do you get? A chance to prove your side of the story, or even take accountability for your actions. If you proceed with this lawsuit, by the time that it's done, especially with what's left of the judge's order, there would be no platform for you to return to, as you still need to answer for not just me, but for everyone else you've harmed on this platform. It would be difficult to return to a platform with a label that you hypocritically participated in the very business tactics that you've reported to be in opposition of for the past 4 years. I'm offering you a chance to clear your name on a third-party neutral platform. Think of it as a conversation. Rather than use the corporate tactic of bullying those who speak out against you, why not prove you're different from them? You've previously stated that you feel as though you dumbed down your language too much and you allowed people to fill in the gaps that don't actually exist. So here's your chance. prove everyone wrong. If you're interested in going the route of proving publicly why you're in the right, to argue for your platform's right to existence, a discussion where all topics would of course need to be known by both parties beforehand. A lawsuit that will drag on for the next few years will not clear your name like you hope. If anything, it has only further damaged your reputation with, especially because you're suing the two parties who have publicly said the least. And I know you know this. No PR firm in the world could save you if you continue this lawsuit. Even if you did win, from what I've seen, you would just be seen as a bully who abused the legal system. You could also use this opportunity that I would be giving you to take accountability. The rough outline that I'm proposing, and I am open to negotiations on these terms within reason. Plaintiff must dismiss all claims against all parties with prejudice once amicable terms are set forth. Plaintiff and myself will agree on a third party who we both independently trust to host a fair conversation. Their responsibility will be to ensure that each person is not spoken over and is given a chance to clear their mind. Plaintiffs may also take this time to take accountability for their actions instead if they wish. Legal fees of either party will not be sought out, and this will be taken for the loss that it is.
And he said he would be open to negotiating additional terms within reason, but that she had to respond to this by June 7th. Otherwise, he'd assume that there'd be no settlement. He also said that if there is no settlement agreement, there would be further videos on his part about Illuminati, not just his Dear Illuminati video. Now, I promised you guys that I would give an update once we have one, and as of now, we do. An agreement was not made by the June 7th deadline, but this was not the end of things, because apparently Illuminati or Illuminati's team had reached out saying that they needed more time, that there would be some kind of conversation happening. Now, according to Oz, when this conversation did happen, she proposed some new terms. Before we move on with that though, I want to tell you about Fume, who are sponsoring today's video. We all have bad habits. It's okay. You can admit it. It's fine. I'm not judging you. Mine was one that I thought I was doing really well without, but then, you know, you're out with friends and they're all doing it and you're reaching for that old bad habit like it's an old friend that you really, really miss, and it's just a bad idea. But thankfully, there is a better alternative, something that you can easily take out with you and use instead. That is Fume, which is an award-winning flavored air device. Fume is not a vape. There is no vapor. There are no chemicals or electronics. There's no batteries and no nicotine. All you do is take your Fume, open the little dial at the bottom, and breathe in flavored air through their flavored cores. They have a huge range of non-toxic flavors which are absolutely delicious. Some of my favorites are crisp mint and orange vanilla, but I also got to try some new flavors recently. These were cinnamon hearts, black licorice, and spearmint ice, and oh my god, the spearmint ice one is amazing. I think this actually might be my new favorite. I lied before, spearmint ice is now my favorite. And flavored air, by the way, is not like vaping. If vapor was like a sweet, sticky, fizzy drink, then flavored air is more like herbal tea. It's a way to help beat your bad habits without all the guilt. Fume continuously invests in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products, and it's backed by doctors in the US. And as well as that, Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you could be their next success story. For a limited time, use my code VANGELINASCOV to get your free Fume base when you order the Journey Pack. The base is an all-new magnetic stand for your Fume device. Head to tryfume.com, that's tryfum.com, and use code Vangelina or scan the QR code on screen to get your free Fume base when you order the Journey Pack today. That's also going to be in the description for you to check out too. So thank you to Fume for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get on with the rest of it. We unfortunately do not know at the moment what those terms are. We might actually find out, but more on that later. But what we do know from Oz is that he claims that these were ridiculous, that she just proposed absolutely ridiculous terms that he was not going to agree to. And I would absolutely love to know what these were. I assume probably some kind of gag order based on the way things have been before, with the restraining order that she tried to take out where she just wanted people to be silenced, that they wouldn't be able to talk about her and stuff like that. So I would assume that would be something that would be put in these terms that she would want, that if she agrees to this and she pulls out her claim, that he would never be able to talk about her again, and neither would anybody involved in this lawsuit. That is also, along with Oz Media, Wonderstruck, and Felix the Kit Kat. Again, that is just an assumption on my part. That might be true, that might not be true. I'm just guessing. And I'm sure there were some other things as well, but as to what they were, I'm at a loss. So presumably there was some additional conversation that went on after this, and our media extended the deadline. On the day of the deadline, he went live on YouTube. He was streaming, and he was planning to be streaming at the final hour of the deadline, after which time, if she had not responded, there would be no settlement agreement. Everything would go forward as planned. They would continue to be legal whatevers. I forgot the word, I'm so sorry, my brain just like crashed there for a second. It would continue going to court, and this would just continue on for years and cost everybody lots of money. So I was tuned in for a bit of that. It was at a weird time for me, but I was still watching, and unfortunately she did not respond. There was no agreement made, which means that there is no settlement. This is going to go forward. It is more than likely going to go to court unless there is some additional cases made by Felix the Kit Kat or Wonderstruck asking the judge to dismiss this again, or to reconsider the judge's decision to not dismiss this, which again we spoke about before, because all of these people had been asking the judge to dismiss this case because there wasn't enough evidence, but the judge has to give the benefit of the doubt to the person making the claim. So this is Blair in this case, and he did not do that. So from my understanding, and again, I'm not a lawyer or a legal professional and I have no legal background, but from my understanding and my research, even though the judge didn't throw this out, people can ask him to reconsider his decision. But to be honest, in my opinion, I don't think that he's going to reconsider, because he's already not gone through with the dismissal requests. So why would he suddenly change his mind unless there is something very shocking, which could be the fact that part of Felix the Kit Kat's whole thing is that she's saying he breached contract by sharing DMs, but these DMs occurred before he was even employed by her and was not a work situation. So if he can show some kind of proof that he wasn't working for her at the time, that might be something that warrants it being dismissed. I don't know. That is just what I understand. So hopefully something like that happens, but we just don't know. Now remember I said that Oz Media had said in his Dear Illuminati video that if she agreed to a settlement, that would be it video-wise, but if not, he would make another video. He tweeted out and said, as a general update, part 2 is still happening. However, because the legal system is an unruly beast with no remorse and requires a lot of careful planning and filings, part 2 is now being split into further parts, meaning the saga will now come in 3s. No current ETA on part 2 other than sometime this month, same goes for part 3. I've also updated the GoFundMe with current legal invoices from both myself and Felix. So yes, this also means that the GoFundMe is still up and running. I have that linked in the description if you want to donate, but this is going towards Oz and Felix's legal fees for this because, as we said, it is more than likely going to go to court and go on for years and cost a lot of money. And as he stated, he did also share these invoices so that people who donated know that their money is going where they think it's going. As for Illuminati herself, however, there is still no update on her specifically. Her channel is still dead. There's a lot of conversation and theorizing about whether she's on a different channel now, with people seeing channels that they think might be her, but all of it is kind of unsubstantiated at the moment, so I won't go into it because that might just drive a lot of negative traffic towards channels who might have nothing to do with her. So I don't want to do that, so we're not going to speculate, but there are people talking about this and trying to figure out where she's gone, because she can't not be working, right? Like that seems like a difficult and bad thing to do. You would have no income and you have all this legal stuff coming up, so you definitely need some income. So she must be doing something. Maybe she's teaching that business ethics class, I don't know. But as for now, that's where we stand. The GoFundMe is up and running. The Dear Illuminati video has now been tagged as part 1, and there will be subsequent parts. I'm sorry I'm not here to give you guys better news, but I did promise that I would do an update on this once there was an update, so here you go. Again, I wish it was better news myself, but that's where we're at. If there is another update in the future, I will of course talk about that if there are any more revelations videos or things legal-wise or otherwise. I don't know what Ozmedia's video is going to be about, but if there's any new information, we may go over that in future videos, so just let me know if you want to see those or not. And now that we have reached the end of the video, may I say something? And this is not related in any way at all. This is me transitioning to the end of the video by talking about something completely different. If you hadn't gathered that, leave me a comment right now and guess, just guess, based on my online presence, based on how you perceive me, what you think about me, what you know of me. I would love to know if you think I'm a neat or a messy person. Please tell me, because I keep the rest of the apartment so tidy, so clean. Well, the best I can, you know, it's quite clean. It's very clean. This room is a fucking disaster. It has just gotten worse and worse over the last few days. Like, it's usually not this bad, but right now it is disgusting. I'm not even gonna show you because it's so bad. Like, it's not unclean, but it's messy because I cleaned it like last week or the week before that, like properly cleaned and scrubbed everything and hoovered. But then I kept putting stuff in here. Like, there's a whole big box from a monitor in here that was supposed to be thrown out, but I didn't want to throw it out because my cats are playing with it, but it had styrofoam in it, so I wanted to take the styrofoam out, and now it's just... Sorry if this is uninteresting for you, but like, just bear with me for a second. Some people actually do like to hear about this stuff. It's a mess. There's a million other boxes. There's envelopes. There's just stuff on the floor and handbags. There is sunglasses everywhere. Notebooks, my fume, cores, skincare, loops, fucking a ton of these little things, Tipex, pens, so many bags, so many bags, paper bags, just crap everywhere. There's stuff all over my desk. I had to just push stuff aside to put my laptop here so I could record my audio and look at the information on the screen. It's such a mess. And I just thought you guys wouldn't want to know that because I don't consider myself a messy person. But this room currently in its current state is like the darkest corner of my soul. I think like I'm naturally a messy person, but I just fight it normally. So I need to go and tidy this room and clean it. But I have a concert to go to, so I feel like that's not going to happen. Also, editing this video for you takes precedent over tidying up. But mark my words, this room will be less of a disaster site by the next video that you see from me. And I want you guys to ask me in that video, did you clean that room? Hold me accountable to my mess because I'm making life hell for myself. I don't even have anywhere to put my phone. It's on my lap. There's a jacket hanging on my chair. Send help. Anyway, that's not important. I just, you know, I do know that like some people want to hear about this stuff, and I just kind of wanted to complain and let you into my life a little bit. So thank you for watching. Do check out the GoFundMe. It's in the description. You can also check out a whole playlist of other videos I made about the situation if you haven't caught up or you need a refresher and stuff. Do all the things. It's all in the description. Subscribe, obviously. Please subscribe. Really helps me out. I really
Okay, on me in 3, 2, 1. Nope. I don't got it. I don't got it today.
I'm not inspired, I said.
Sorry, guys, I can't do the show today because I'm not feeling the spark of creativity and imagination. I was reading that Rick Rubin book about creativity, and he's like, you gotta do some shit. He was like, you know, I have a beard, you know, whatever.
And I just can't do it.
It's not working, Rick. You shit.
Hello, guess who? It's me, the Lord. How are you, man? What's up?
If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be in this mess.
What the hell am I supposed to do now?
Whoa, hey, Jesus, calm down, man. Did you read the Rick Rubin book about the creative, well, what the hell is it? Creative process or whatever that guy's at all. Whatever the hell that guy's on about in his beard?
Yes, I read the book.
Yeah, I put that book in the half-price books, $8 off. You know, and I knew you were going to be there at the time when it would be there.
Okay, thank you, but it didn't work. I got nothing. I got no ideas. I got zero divine inspiration, and that's sort of your thing. Admit it.
Okay, you're yelling now. Okay, you are yelling at me now. If this is what you do, Peters, you get people on and yell at them, you put them in a corner.
No.
But I'm a good guy, so I'm gonna get a still help your loop wretched ass out. Okay? Check your email. Hold on, let me take that again. Check your email.
Check my email, he says. Okay, what is this little link? This better be inspiring. What is this?
I don't know who needs to hear this right now.
It's Will Smith.
But whatever's going on in your life, I'm here to tell you, you can make it.
It's Will Smith at the BET Awards.
You are in the smoke and the fire. On the wire, I see you broken and tired, and all your hope is expired.
Okay.
Changes in the
scenario
games
is
and
kinetic. Plan accordingly.
Now I'm too inspired. Now I'm too goddamn inspired and motivated.
Oh my God.
Hang in there, kitten, like a little ass cat. Hanging on a line about to die. But he still tries, but he still flies. Soaring through the skies.
Well, when it comes to survival of the fittest, Texans have it down.
Hey, calm down. Whoa. Calm your ass down. Go ahead.
Indeed. All we need is Whataburger. This post on X going viral after user BBQ Brian shared his way of tracking the power outages in Houston. See, Centerpoint Energy doesn't have an outage map for customers to show.
Oh, amazing.
Whataburger has an app showing you which locations are open, letting people
they're all
track
taken
where
care
there's
of that.
power in the area and where there's not power.
Of the 127 Whataburger locations.
What's that message you got there? If this Texas news guy were to open that message, it would say,
Dude, I'm burning you down.
You know, people give Texas a hard time. Your power grid doesn't work. I don't know if you guys remember in 2021, there was a freeze. Power stopped working. People died.
Please shut the hell up. We got it covered.
Power's going out in Houston, and people are checking the Whataburger app. Hey, is the power on? Let me check Whataburger. Order a honey butter chicken biscuit, too. No.
No, I already had some.
I already went like this.
Whataburger even commented on the post saying, well, there's a use for our app we didn't think of. Now, lots of Houstonians
shut
are
up,
keeping
guys.
an eye.
When asked for comment, Whataburger said,
I'm putting it on the internet.
Then they go, God bless you. That's right, you goddamn guys. Today we're doing a tech check, and I'm sorry I did not have time to make a graphic for that, so we will not be having a...
It's a tech check in the disco, tech chicken biscuit, fries, and a Dr. Pepper. Tech check, it's a kind of check that we do on this show.
Capture zone contested.
Now it's time to know.
Hold on, what the hell is this?
Hold on. What the hell is this?
What does this thing say here? So someone bought the TUAW domain, populated it with AI-generated slop, and then reused my name from a job I had when I was 21 years old to try to pull some SEO scam. Hey, that won't even work in 2024 because Google changed its algorithm. Assholes. Hey. Okay, so this is a very heartwarming story. And it's one of those stories that shows, AI. Ooh. One of the main AI uses right now is what we call stupid scams. Dumbass little scams. And this is one of the funnier ones of the past week or so. This was a website. What is it called? Tua. Yeah, okay. It's good timing, I guess. This was some dumb Apple website that people would go on. They'd be like, I don't know what they were doing on here. I have a phone. And then someone else would be like, I got a phone too. That's what they would do on there, I guess. I don't know. It was a very popular Apple website. And what happened to this thing? The new version of Tua has recreated the archives of the site by running old real articles through a summarization tool. Summarization tool sounds like this. And then republishing new bastardized versions of the old articles under the bylines of real writers who didn't actually write them. The names and bios of dozens of real journalists who actually worked for this crap a decade ago are listed on the website.
They make me sick.
Under the headline,
They make me sick.
and all of them have their real images replaced by AI-generated ones, and their old work misattributed to other people and turned into AI slop by a summarization tool that has destroyed their original work. Oh, Christ. What's funny about these content farms, and there's more and more of them, people that buy a site, and they're like, I'll just generate crap to put on here, is that they never want to tell people that it's just like a robot writing all this. This is like a good example of that. It's like, oh no, these are real people. That looks like a stock photo. No, it's a real guy. None of them just want to say, oh, a robot wrote all this crap. When people hear that, they say, no, that sucks. If you're the owner of a website or whatever, this is kind of perfect. In theory, it's perfect. I could just get a robot to do this. I don't even have to hire people. Just get a robot. I could just get a robot. But people who actually read it are like, that sucks. Those robots,
They make me sick.
they want something of real value created by real humans, so they have to trick people. That's a real guy. Real guy wrote that. What's his name? Greg what?
Be advised.
He'd rather not say.
Samsung Electronics,
Never heard of it.
the largest labor union, started its first ever general strike on Monday.
Okay.
With around 6,000 participants, the National Samsung Electronics Union began a rally this morning near one of Samsung's business sites
I like the
in the city
bandana.
of
Wait, hold on. Let me zoom in here. What does this hole on Reddit say? South Korea is basically a cyberpunk dystopia. Really cool technology, but the government is effectively a wholly owned and operated subsidiary of Samsung. These people are taking a real risk, and I wouldn't be surprised if Samsung breaks out the Pinkertons or whatever the South Korean equivalent is. I mean, it might just be the police. Say, shut up, man.
I don't know why, but you shut up.
Okay, so what do these ungrateful son of a bitches want from Samsung? What does it say? Union workers are demanding a wage increase of 3.5%, improved bonus policies, and an extra day of paid vacation. Okay, seems pretty reasonable. Seems pretty reasonable, and for that, God bless you. Oh, God damn it, these guys.
These guys need to leave Samsung alone.
Why are these guys giving Samsung such a hard time?
You know, the Samsung crap.
This Samsung crap is everywhere. You know, I have one of them. I have a Samsung.
But I didn't know too much about Samsung.
You know, and this is a big deal. This is the first ever strike. So what should I know about this? So what should we know about this company?
In South Korea, Samsung has become one of the most hated monopolies in the country.
No.
Alongside other brands you might know, like Hyundai and LG,
Take it back.
These companies are seen as companies which are above the law and basically control the government.
Hey,
They have been embroiled in many controversies involving corruption and economic manipulation.
Yeah, you said the word
They
wrong.
have come to be known as chaebols, a word that comes from the combination of the characters for rich and clan.
South Korea is Samsung, and Samsung is South Korea.
What do you mean?
For the average resident, it's a relationship with a corporation as deep as that with the government itself, perhaps best demonstrated through a single eye-popping statistic.
Okay.
Year after year, just about 20% of the entire nation's GDP is made up of Samsung revenue.
God bless you. Samsung basically is above the law in South Korea. Basically own the place, you know. So these people are striking. Very brave, very important. But I kind of kept going down the rabbit hole on this, and I found this lady. What's this lady's name? Stephanie Sue? More like Stephanie Who. Oh my God. How is she gonna recover from that one? She's not.
Boom, 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 boom.
Got your ass! Woo! And what else, Alex?
Dude, I'm burning you down.
Exactly.
And at the top of this food chain is Samsung. How many times am I going to talk about the Samsung family? They're literally going to kill me. Good thing I have an iPhone, so they can't snoop on me.
The drama of this Samsung family, it makes that show Succession look like a piece of shit. How long is it? This is a 48-minute video. I kind of like this channel. What the hell is this goddamn video called? Samsung Princess married her bodyguard, only for him to cheat, abuse, and sue her for $1 billion. For $1 billion? If there already isn't like a series or a movie in the works about this bodyguard, I'll be shocked. I mean, you can go listen to this lady tell the whole story, but basically, this is some real Succession. I mean, this is actually way more interesting of a story than the Succession crap. But this heiress, you know, the daughter of the Samsung guy, the guy who started Samsung, she marries her bodyguard. And this bodyguard absolutely just like loses his mind. You know, they do some real Succession family-ass crap. Like they try to send him to MIT to be smart because he's dumb. He's a dumb bodyguard, you know, but he's too dumb for MIT. So then they give him like a high position at Samsung, but he's too dumb. So he just goes crazy and starts drinking and then tries to like blackmail the Samsung lady, the heiress, for $1 billion. But this bodyguard is just like, well, I'm close to the most powerful lady in South Korea. Maybe I get something out of it. I don't know. Maybe I could get something out of this. But that's the kind of crap that's going on with Samsung. You know, kind of what happens when people get way too much power. So God bless you. God bless you to those striking workers. And also, praise God. Okay, enough.
In Chester County,
Never heard. Where? Never heard of it.
In Chester County, middle school students target teachers with fake TikTok accounts.
A New York Times report says.
That's kind of funny. Everybody wants to get the ass of their teacher.
Got your ass! Woo!
And they did it.
Some of the content posted to those accounts were, quote, racist and homophobic.
Whoa! Okay, never mind.
Valley School District says they learned of 22 fictitious TikTok accounts impersonating staffers in February. After an intense investigation, the district says they have identified some of the students involved, but they are unsure if there are more involved.
That's okay.
School leaders say after learning about the accounts, they worked with law enforcement and legal counsel. Many of these